Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Dives, Mr. Crockpot on Twitter. Welcome to TPL Live. Today is our Sixers versus Heat watch party. We're going to be with you all night long, talking about the top takeaways, reacting with you guys. Please be sure to like. Please be sure to comment. Please be sure to smash that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Go check us out at The Painted Lines on Twitter, thepaintedlines.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Joining us today is my man, Jason Blevins, our Sixers beat writer. Follow him on Twitter at JBlevinsNBA. How you doing, Jason?
Great. I'm from an undisclosed location. Got my COVID results. I'm negative. Got the second result, so I'll be able to go back to the arena, but not tonight.
Awesome.
We love to hear the negative results. We love to hear it.
Very much. Also joining us is, of course, I guess our TPL Live co-host. I'm calling it right now. He is Justin. Follow him on Twitter at J_Persichetti. What's going on, Justin?
What is up? The Sixers have been pretty disappointing as of late. Obviously not to all their fault. I think that's the most of the opinion at TPL. Let's hope we can find a way to win this game, honestly. That Miami are really shorthanded today as well, just like we are. So I think it's sort of interesting game to watch just because of that.
Yeah, the COVID Sixers take on the COVID Heat. Is Ben Simmons playing tonight, Jason? What's the latest update?
Yeah, so he's probable. I expect him to play. He's not in protocols. He was out with knee soreness, and I would expect him to play.
All right, let's go into our expectations for today. With Ben back, really, I think we didn't really see much of Joel Embiid. I think he only played, 24 minutes. I think that was pretty much designed to save Joel for tonight's game versus the COVID Heat. I don't know what else to discuss other than really Tyrese Maxey has kind of been the darling over these last few games. This guy has been absolutely terrific for the Philadelphia 76ers. Let me go pull up some stats here. Not that they really mean anything. There's some really crazy stats because just as good as the Sixers were, 7-1, a week later, COVID hits, and you can just throw all these stats out the window. It's a depleted roster. They really mean nothing. But you look at Tyrese Maxey's true shooting percentage is now at 64.4% in January in 6 games, which would be higher than Joel Embiid's true shooting percentage this season, 64.2%. Tyrese Maxey's averaging 24.3 minutes per game in January with an insane 4.8 turnover percentage and a 131.7 offensive rating. Jason, what's been your take on Tyrese Maxey as of late?
Yeah, his handle is just incredibly impressive. He's also just got a really impressive array of finishing moves at the rim. His floater game, we saw pretty much from the start, but it's legit. And being able to get as bad as the last week of basketball has been, it's very much like a preseason. Getting that unrestrained green light for a guy his age,
Yep.
And then to be able to be fairly efficient with it is pretty awesome. So a lot of great stuff. I still don't exactly know how that fits into their base set of offense, but off the bench, it's just such a luxury to have.
Yeah.
Something to add with what you just said. And this is, I think, something that Dibes has talked about in the past as well. If they eventually wanted, if Shake starts shooting a little bit more consistently, and if they eventually wanted to bring him into the starting lineup instead in for Danny Green, I could really see Tyrese running that second unit as that 6-man role off the bench. I don't know about you with that, Jason, just because he has that capability of ball handling that honestly, I don't think Doc or any fan really expected with him coming in the league right away. We all saw him as a prototypical 2-guard that was a good defender, that could drive to the basket well, and could really only run the pick and roll and find the big man down there. And now we're noticing he can find people around the perimeter as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a I don't mean to throw a wet blanket on it. There's
Mhm.
just a huge gap between being a successful scoring guard or even a scoring point guard to being a floor general. And
Yeah.
it's not something that happens just at like 19.
Yeah.
And I think we should just really be happy and pleased with the fact that he's able to compete as a scoring guard right now. And then his ability to play defense, I think, is ahead of what we would have expected. His handle and ability to handle all ball pressure is better than we expected. And we should just really appreciate that.
Yep.
Versus
No, I
like
agree.
getting way too ahead of ourselves around like constructing an offense around him. I don't know that we're there yet. And I think one concern when we talk about pulling Danny Green out of the starting lineup is that it's pretty clear what they want the offense to look like. And I think Danny Green and Seth Curry are really, actually really important to executing what that looks like.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
All right, let's go. I actually you talk about Danny Green. Like I said, these stats really don't mean anything because these last several games have been an absolute crapshoot. But you talk about a game where we need Danny Green to step up. This guy had his worst offensive rating of the season last night with a 37. And in the 4 losses, Danny Green is now shooting 5 of 20 from 3, which is 25%. And I did a poll. Who would you replace Danny Green with in the starting lineup? 306 votes, 52% says Shake Milton, 29% says Tyrese Maxey, and 19% says neither. What's your little take on that, Jason?
I am just like, I know I'm going to sound old school, but I have super high, I am very much a 1s and 5s person. I really believe the point guards are like the most important position in the offense, and centers are the most important position in the defense. And Danny Green screams to me that a good pass equals a good shot. And even a pass that's just a little bit outside of his pocket is going to result in inconsistent shooting. So to me, when you look at his bad shooting nights, it's early, the first couple of games where guys didn't exactly know where he was going to be on the floor. His good shooting nights were in that middle period where they started to figure out where he needed the ball. And then these last couple of games without having Seth Curry and Ben Simmons to feed him in the right spot at the right time, that's when you just see the limitations of a guy that can really just do a couple of things. And those couple of things are really important to a championship caliber team. You just can't ask Danny Green to carry you on a random night when you got 8 guys. You just can't. It's not like he's the 4th best player on the team, so he should step up when the other 3 are out. It's just he doesn't work that way.
Yeah, and that's actually something.
Guys like him don't work that way.
Yeah, and that's something I had actually touched on a little bit yesterday, where when guys like Ben and Joel go down, who are the figures of your offense, in years past when we had a guy like Josh Richardson or Jimmy Butler, I mean, obviously Tobias is out, so he would be that person right now, but he obviously cannot be. But a guy like Josh Richardson, who can kind of create his own shot and get his own a bit more, and I think obviously more than a guy like Danny Green, who's more that prototypical like 3-and-D player. It's going to be different when a bunch of these stars are out of the game. You don't have a guy like Josh Richardson now at your 2 guard at your 3 spot who's going to be able to create his own shot. Even though he is a vet, he is one of those guys that is a vet that is a role player and knows his role well. And just it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to play out of that role well this season at all. And I think that's something we have to pay attention to. But something I hope we can touch on a little bit right now, Dibes, is I wanted to share my screen on this and talk about just the amount of players that are out in general and who's out of this game. So I'm going to share my screen and show people this this tweet real quick by who I think it was Hoops Reference, but This is how many people are out right now tonight. Look at that. That's how many people who are not going to be on the court for Miami and for the Sixers. If that doesn't tell you like how this game is going to be, I don't know what else does. Like, honestly, I will say, you notice by the names on it, you don't see Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson on that list. So they do have some scoring coming off. Go ahead, Debs.
They've got some shooters for sure in Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero, two of the best shooters in the NBA, period. Can we just rub some of that shooting onto Danny Green, who's shooting 30% from three in the catch and shoot this year? It would be terrific. But
I think what we're going to learn in games like this about the Duncan Robinsons and the Tyler Heros are they legitimate scorers? Are they really legitimate catch and shoot guys when they have chemistry, when they have capable primary ball handlers who can get them the ball in the right spot? Can they knock down their shots? Are they the Danny Green's level player, or are they, the Dakota Mathias level player?
Well, one thing I want to say with that, I don't think Tyler Hero is like that catch and shoot guy that Duncan Robinson is that catch and shoot guy, probably that Danny Green guy in his career, what he's just going to be running around screens, hitting shots. Tyler Hero is, in my opinion, more than that. He's a guy who can create off the dribble. He's a guy who, he can hit the catch and shoot, but not nearly as efficiently as a guy like Duncan Robinson can.
Well, he's going to get the chance tonight, and we're gonna see. And I think one of the things we're going to see, kind of like we saw in the bubble, is with this crazy period, you're going to see big nights where the other team decides to take away all the other options and let one guy beat you. And I think to Bradley Beal's big night, the Sixers clearly just closed off all of his other options and said, go shoot the ball 40 times and let's see if you can beat us. We're going to take away everything else. And then the Nuggets took away everything but Tyrese Maxey, and they said, go ahead, rookie, take 30 shots, see how it works out for the team. And he looks great, but the team gets blown out, right? And, do the Heat just give Harrow the ultimate green light, and do the Sixers say, well, that's fine, we'll let him be the guy that beats us? Or do they try to put Ben on him, take him away, and try to make the rest of the team beat them? That's what I would look for in that first 5 minutes, is what poison have the Sixers picked amongst the very limited Heat options?
So something I want to get into. Are you hearing an echo?
Yeah, it's gone now.
It's gone now? Okay, sorry. Something I want to get into with that, because that's something that we did, like you said, with Bradley Beal. And I think it was Doc that came out and said that they decided to not have Ben Simmons directly on Bradley Beal because they were kind of trying to run him more off ball. I think it could be interesting to see them use that tactic today, just because of the lineup that the Heat's probably going to have out in the court. I have a feeling it's going to be Tyrese Maxey guarding a guy like Hero, and they're probably going to have Ben running that kind of how we had Matisse run it a little bit last year, where he's kind of running around just playing
free safety,
playing free safety, playing center field, seeing what he can get with by tapping balls away and everything. And I don't think that's necessarily this is a bad team bad matchup to have that go against, just because they don't have a ton of scorers, if you know what I mean by that. They have maybe two that are probably going to be highlighted throughout this game in Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero. So I think it definitely would be interesting to see that type of defense brought out against this team.
Yeah, I agree. And it's good training for Maxey to have to continue to fight through screens. Because what you're going to see is pick and pop with a guy like Olynyk and Harrow, and Maxey Maxey having to fight through screens so that Harrow doesn't get that wide open shot. And it'll just come down to discipline. And, Olynyk probably gets 15 shots tonight. And he can shoot.
Oh yeah, Olynyk, in my opinion, is so underrated in the NBA. Like he is a legitimate like if he's on a team that as your stretch four, that's a legitimate player for you. And I know he more plays like the stretch five role for them. Like he's on the court when Bam usually isn't, at least in lineups that they like and they're best at. But he's a guy that's legitimately underrated in my opinion.
He is. He's just a bad dude. He's got a bad reputation. He's unlikable.
What's his reputation? Why is that? Do you know?
Well, the Kevin Love separated shoulder in the playoffs. I mean, that was a really fucking dirty move.
What year was that again?
I mean,
that was a while ago, right?
Yeah, it was a while ago. He was with Boston.
Blevins hates him because he's Canadian. Damn, we got Philly Heat in here. Oh, Philly Heat. By the way, if this is the same Philly Heat, I think Philly Heat followed me on Twitter today. So what's up, Philly?
He's my favorite Heat fan. By far. I can't even think of a number 2. Maybe Kai Carlin.
Let's go to some quick comments.
Yep.
Carlos says the Sixers have to win on the defensive side tonight. That's for sure. They can't buy a bucket with a lack of shooting. 100%. The defense has been down, but you can't blame them. You just cannot blame them.
They have no excuse to lose on either end tonight. They have their 2 superstars.
Yeah.
And against a full squad, they have to play defense. But, I mean, they have no excuse to win to only score 96 points tonight. They just have more firepower, more options.
And we have
Gillis.
Ben is playing. I assume Ben is playing. We haven't heard otherwise.
He is listed as probable, Shane. We're assuming that he is at this point because, I mean, yesterday both Joel and Mike Scott were listed as probable, and they are playing. So I think we can only assume.
Philly _Heat says, Jason, you're his favorite Sixers fan. Austin's a distant second, but he slandered Jimmy Butler.
I definitely was tougher on Jimmy Butler than Austin was. I was definitely tougher on him.
Look at this.
Yeah, Nadir, what's going on? You got it, man. You got it.
Nadir said, "Mr. Triple Single is playing." Listen, are we comparing Ben Simmons to Draymond Green now? Is that what's happening? Because I believe Charles Barkley was the one you can quote saying Draymond Green has a triple single.
I wrote a thing today about Draymond Green, about having a team full of Draymond Greens, like building a defense around that.
Who said Nadir 3 times in the mirror?
We love Nadir.
He's the best.
He's the best. So let's go. What's going on, man? Jason, what's your prediction for tonight? Who's your player of the game?
My prediction is just awkwardness, pain, weirdness.
Are you talking about yourself or the Sixers?
Yeah, everybody involved. This is ridiculous that they have to play this game, and it's. I mean, I get it. I said this earlier on the radio. There are a lot of jobs involved in broadcast. Really, the only reason you would continue to play these games are for broadcast rights, TV, radio. There are a lot of people that get paid hourly, even at the arena when there's nobody there. There are employees there. There are financial reasons to play, but this is like preseason. What do you expect? I don't know. I don't think it's fair to the Heat to have to sit in Philadelphia for 3 days, play 2 games, undermanned like this. It wasn't fair to the Sixers to have to do it a week ago. It's not fair to the Heat today. Go ahead, Justin.
I was gonna real quick, keep talking. I'm gonna bring something up on the screen real quick.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's like it's such a weird thing where we had a really shortened preseason. We had a beginning semi-regular first 10 games of the regular season. And now we're like back in preseason mode where nobody knows on any given night who is going to be able to play. And you're starting Dakota Mathias in an NBA game.
Speaking of starting Dakota Mathias, our starting lineup has come out today. It'll be Danny Green, Mike Scott, Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey, and Ben Simmons. So how do you all feel about that starting lineup?
I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited to see how this lineup gels. The Mike Scott, not so much. Mike Scott has done nothing for the Sixers in a year and a half, and
no, he's another guy where when your point guard knows how to hit him in rhythm in the shooting pocket, he is a 40% shooter from three. When your point guard makes him reach or makes him awkward, doesn't hit him in rhythm, he's an inconsistent player. It's just there's a tier of guys that are just so dependent on their point guard that if you have a great point guard, it unlocks those guys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you look at a guy like Danny Green, he's literally played with Hall of Fame point guards his whole career. And when he was with the Spurs, he's playing with Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili. When he's with the Lakers, or when he's with the Raptors, he's playing with Kyle Lowry. I mean, I would argue Kyle Lowry maybe could go to the Hall of Fame. He's got a championship, and he's been an All-Star multiple times, and he's an all-around good player. Also, you got a guy like LeBron James playing with the Lakers. So, I mean, you have guys who can put him in those good positions. So what you're saying, in my opinion, definitely checks out. Something, though, I'm interested in to think about with this lineup is the fact that Tyrese Maxey's in the starting lineup. Now, although that makes a lot of sense when it comes to Ben Simmons not being in the starting lineup, the fact that he's in the starting lineup today instead of being in the bench unit kind of surprises me. Because now when that bench unit comes out, and mind you, obviously they're probably going to be playing a little different today just because of the fact that they don't have the same bench. So it's probably going to be starters playing with the bench like we would have done last season. But it kind of surprises me that Tyrese Maxey isn't moved to the bench role just to kind of control that as Ben Simmons is with the starters.
Yeah, but I think you have to just look at these games in this period of time as player development opportunities, and you just want to give him – he's 19, so, he clearly – I've seen no signs of fatigue in him. So he hasn't hit the rookie wall yet. He will, and at that point, hopefully he's your 8th or 9th man.
Yeah.
But right now, just give him as much experience and minutes as he can possibly get, and find out what you have, and then let him learn from his mistakes that he so far isn't making. And that's a great thing, but like the 7 turnover game is coming. It has to. Like nobody is that good right out the bat. So
does it surprise you at all that he has been this good right now? Like, being that he's a guy that we picked at 21, being that he's a guy that was kind of was basically thrown into that starting lineup, does it surprise you that he's coming out here and playing as well as he is? Because he's playing very, very well for a rookie. Especially that a guy that's being thrown into the point guard position, like as you said, one of the most important positions on the court, if not the most.
Yeah, but I think it's like first 10 games of Matisse Thybulle last year, he looked like a diamond, and then teams got a scouting report on him, and they started to expose some of his gambling, defensively, some of his weaknesses. Maxey is going to get into the other team's game plan at some point. The luxury of having a rookie on a team with this many quality players is there's so many other players that the other team is trying to stop that you can hide a guy while he develops. But when he gets into the game plan and the other team decides they're going to have to put the clamps on him, then we'll see what we really have. Yeah. Right? And I just don't know that we're there yet. I hate to be the wet blanket. Everything is encouraging.
Yeah.
But nothing is proof that we have like an NBA All-Star yet.
I was going to go into that. Good thing. That's like the biggest takeaway of the season is we don't know yet. Like, people, please don't overreact to wins or losses right now. Please don't take too much what you see and just run with it. All the Ben Simmons stuff you see on Twitter, like, we don't know anything about this team. They haven't really been measured up against a quality team yet. We've seen the success they can have, but you look at the stats, you look at the data, you see like back-to-backs, you see a depleted roster. Like I don't take anything I see and just be like, I'm sure of this. Even though I see Tyrese Maxey putting up 39 points against the Nuggets and looking great, let's be honest, like what is his role when the playoffs start, during the playoffs? So there is a lot of positive takeaways with Tyrese Maxey, but I don't want to go like too crazy. That I'm just trying to like look at this objectively, that there's so much that can be misconstrued with all of the crap that the Sixers are having to play with. And it's just throwing all the data, like it's skewing everything.
Don't be seduced by a great performance and a 20-point loss. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
Like that's like just it's some of this stuff is the other team just living with letting a rookie. I mean, I think it was opening night. Denny Avdia. Clearly, they put Seth Curry on him, right? And they were like, "All right, let the rookie beat us." Like,
I'll tell you what, though, that guy is good. Like, I don't think enough people. I think the fact that he went that far back in the draft surprised me because I watched a lot of tape on him coming out of Europe, and I was super surprised that he went that late. Like, for one, he's a bucket. Two, he can play decent defense.
Yeah.
And three, he can play make too. Like, what else do you want? Like, to be honest with you, when Patrick Williams went to the Bulls and not Denny Avdia, I was very, very, very surprised.
I think it's just Euro bias is.
But like, how can Euro bias be a thing anymore after you got guys like Luka Doncic coming out of the draft?
Because Luka's still, there
was a lot of doubters about Luka.
Yeah,
I know. Dude, but like, listen to me. To the fact that like tape, to me, tape doesn't lie. Like,
yeah, but it's really just like the difference between someone who is big and strong and fast enough to compete at this level versus you look at. I would also say that Villanova suffers from this, right? Villanova guys consistently, I hate to say this about
I'm gonna just like
but they consistently don't disappoint in the NBA. They consistently don't disappoint in the NBA, even though when you look at them, you think they're a touch slow, they're not quite athletic, they're not elite at anything, but they never disappoint. And I think that there's just because historically there's such a razor thin margin between a guy that can physically compete, maybe very skilled, but can physically compete versus just getting run off the floor. There's just a bias against those guys. And then you have the Duke, where Duke is like the opposite, where they get really skilled guys, but a lot of them don't translate. And that's kind of the Euro model where there's a lot of.
Real quick, Aram, thank you for correcting me. Denny is from Israel. That's my fault. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. He was in my top 5. He was in my top 5 in my big board.
He was a risk. Let's not pretend he wasn't a risk. He looks like he's going to be fine, but nobody in DC is defending. So it's hard to say.
Yep.
It's hard to say who is making that defense bad. It's a combination, obviously, but I don't know.
So, Jason, question, or let me go to some quick comments, and I have one more question for you, Jason. Philly Madness, my man Rob Lange says he's going to be hopping on a little bit later. Is Doug Peterson joining us? No, although I'm sure he's looking for a job somewhere. I don't think we have the money to pay for Doug Peterson to join. Let's go to Aram. He says, I expect Danny Green to have a decent game after the horrible game he had yesterday. And Big Shangela says Danny is more of a complete product than a complete project. So there's that. Jason, what is your take on the current status of the NBA? Do you foresee a pause in the league coming down the line? Where is this evolving into? And what is your thoughts on it?
I think they're going to fight to try to manage this, but I think you're going to see more and more players in very subtle ways fight back against it. So the Kyrie Irving situation, you have even Terrence Ferguson on the Sixers,
Mm-hmm.
he was out for personal reasons. Now he's in COVID protocol. Harden earlier. I think we're coming to a little bit of a clash between the money side of it, the revenue side of it, and the players.
Okay.
I don't think the players realize that they get a portion of the overall revenue. I don't know. We should be talking a lot more about Kyrie Irving right now.
Right?
Right?
Real quick. I thought you guys would like this. I know Nadir would like this. Dwight Howard today is repping Furkan Korkmaz. So let's just talk about that for a second.
So over under on how many times he steps out of bounds today? 1.5.
Because Dwight Howard's got the neons on tonight. Got his tennis balls on.
That's great. I like to see some improved play from Dwight Howard too. After being one of my guys here that has really I thought thrived in that second unit. Just like everything else, that second unit has completely just fallen apart. Jason, who's your player of the game tonight?
Joel Embiid is the best player on the floor.
What about you, Justin?
All right, I'm gonna hold on. I'm trying this out. I'm seeing how this is gonna look real quick. I am going with my man Ben Simmons tonight. I think Ben is gonna have that comeback game defensively and offensively. I think defensively he's gonna lock down, and I think offensively he's gonna come out and show out. Because I mean, if it's anything like how he played the Heat in the playoffs a few years ago, we'll see.
Is that Matt Murphy guarding him?
Let me see. I don't know who Matt Murphy is.
If that's Matt, I would die. That's definitely not Matt.
Matt can shoot. I've shot around.
Any?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Is he better than Kai?
He was part of my 3-person group in the media game 3-point shooting contest.
All right, cool.
Yeah, he can shoot, and we've shot around at the field house while waiting for players to become available.
Awesome.
Can shoot?
What?
Tyrese Maxey can shoot too. Now I'm just having fun with share screen.
Production value is going up.
Oh yeah,
that's another thing that I've been really impressed with. That was the kind of the negative of Tyrese Maxey was the stats in the catch and shoot in his 1 year at Kentucky. Not a good sample size, but it was very low. It was like 20-25%. This year, now over the last several games now, he's shooting nearly 50% from three, and that's all. If you're starting to do that kind of stuff, Tyrese Maxey, you're definitely going to be in that conversation for a lot of minutes and potential starting. So I don't know. Jason, I want to give you one more thing here. I said, who is the best player? I put a poll out on YouTube. Who is the best player comparison for Tyrese Maxey? 113 votes. 41% went to De'Aaron Fox. Markelle Fultz pre-injury, 23% for second. Third best was Jamal Murray, 14%. Lou Williams was 12%, and Tony Parker was 11%. Do any of those click with you for Tyrese Maxey, or are they just he's his own player?
No, I mean, for me, first impression, the first time I saw him in person, it just screams De'Aaron Fox. So big time. Now on draft night, he compared himself. He said his goal, his North Star is Jamal Murray and Drew Holiday.
Okay.
I don't think he's physically built like them. I think he's a lot quicker than both of those players, but he's not nearly as big as those players. So for me, it's very clearly De'Aaron Fox, and he's not quite as big as De'Aaron Fox. But but he's a better shooter than he is. So that's the guy.
T Nice says Dwight Howard has kryptonite shoes. I like that. That was a good comment. Aram asked Jason, who's guarding Ben Simmons tonight? Because you have Duncan Robinson and Hero. So is there anybody on that Miami roster right now that should be able to stop Ben from getting into the paint here? So what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, I don't think that's how teams think about Ben Simmons at all. I think they take their two big guys and they go under on every screen and they try to hide their moderately okay, bigger guy against him. And so, to me, it would be like you probably throw Duncan Robinson on him. But you're not worried about Ben posting up your guy and dunking it on him or post moves or hooks. Those are the shots you want him taking. So you go under on every screen. You just try to keep a guy, that can keep him off the glass a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way teams guard Ben, it's more of a team defense when it comes to what he does for the Sixers offense. Unless they upgrade that as the season goes on. For right now, it's been a lot of he's the first scoring option when it comes to driving on a fast break. If they're going on a fast break, then again on that situation, it's not one guy guarding him. It's team defense walling up, helping it make sure he's not getting to the paint. And then once the half court comes into, that's when you can comes into play. That's when you can have it be more like a guy like Duncan Robinson. Unless you're posting up, then they bring the center in on him typically. So it's situational. I feel like with Ben, he's not a guy who's like a Bradley Beal or Russell Westbrook, where it's one guy you're trying to guard him everywhere on the court.
What's your I want to interrupt. What's your evaluation on Ben Simmons, Jason? Because T Nice on the beat says Ben needs to relax and attack the rim. On defense, Ben, like talking about evaluation for Ben Simmons. On defense, he's been terrific. We're talking defensive player of the year potential. However, in the pick and roll, which I'm looking at, 0.2 points per possession as a scorer in the pick and roll, and 41% field goal percentage in the pick and roll. So he's struggling getting into the paint and scoring in the pick and roll. It's a small sample size. So how would you evaluate Ben Simmons offensively and defensively so far?
I mean, I think we overrate his athleticism, at least his verticality. I think Ben is really fast, straight line speed. He's got good lateral quickness as a defender. He can go left, he can go right, but he still finishes with his right hand. He still will give up an easy left-handed layup to have a really contorted right-hand finish. He is not a vertical leaper. He just doesn't finish through contact. So, like all of the things we've known for his first 3 years, it's all just been incremental. He's never going to leap over everybody like a Russell Westbrook. I just think we have to accept him for the player that he is. It's stupid to continue to talk about his jumper. It's just not going to be a thing you build an offense around. Yep. And his I think his free throw attempts are up.
They are. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But they're not at the 10 free throw attempts a game where you're at like the Russell Westbrook level. So he's a great player that really helps teams in a lot of different ways. He's just always going to frustrate people who think about scoring. Who made the shot.
Yep. Something that makes me curious about him, though, do you think as part of the reason that he doesn't want contact is because of him not being confident with his free throw, or do you think it's something else? Because my mind has always gone to maybe some of the reason why he doesn't want to take contact is because he's not amazing at the free throw line, but do you think that's something else, or do you think it's that?
I think it's mostly that, but also he's just not as vertically athletic as I think we assume he is. He's also doesn't have the long wingspan I think everyone just assumes he has. So he's not a 6'10" guy with a 7'4" wingspan. He's a 6'10" guy with a 7-foot wingspan.
Mm-hmm.
And for as many athletic gifts he has in many different ways, verticality isn't really one of them. It doesn't mean he can't dunk. He can, obviously. But he can't just rise up over where guys are like at his chest and dunk over them while they're fouling him. And
like, don't get us wrong, he's a strong dude. Ben's a strong guy. He just, like you said, he doesn't have that length that I agree with you, because that's a conversation that I've had with some people, and people are like, why is he not more like Giannis? He's damn near the same size as him. Yeah. Why is he not capable of like putting an arm up and just dunking over somebody? And it's because of that. Like, some people don't understand, Giannis is not only an athletic freak, he's a freak just physically. The man wasn't he have like a 7'5" wingspan or something like that? It's close.
It's insane. If you see him up close, I walked through the tunnel with him, and what strikes you is just his shoulders are so wide, it's literally insane. For a guy that's like skinny down everywhere else, he's got Dwight Howard's shoulders. He's got Rudy Gobert's arms. He's just a different. Yeah. It's an entirely different.
There we go. Let's go.
So let's think about this. He's 6'11", has a 7'4", 7'3" wingspan. Like, Ben is 6'10" and has a 7'6'11" wingspan. Like that, and maybe that's 3 inches to some people, but that's a difference right there.
It is just different, and it's like the stuff I was saying about Maxey, where you can appreciate all the great stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he becomes an unstoppable force, right? Ben, I think the book is in on him, and we have to appreciate it, accept it, and just realize that, in 3 years, will he be better? Yeah, he'll be better in small ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on a little bit, because game time has started. Yep. Right now, the Sixers are up 4-0 on my screen. 10 minutes left in the game. Now 5-0 with Joel Embiid hitting a free throw.
Danny Green hit his first three, so that's a good sign. That's a great sign.
Definitely a good sign. I will say Mike Scott bricked his first three.
Yeah, so. Wide open shot.
Well, watch. I asked people to watch these shots and watch the rhythm that Danny Green and Mike Scott catch the ball in. Watch their feet. Watch where they catch the ball. Is it in their shooting pocket? Meaning, is it and everyone's shooting pocket's a little bit different. Some people prefer, like, I'm left-handed, but I prefer to catch it on my right hip. I'm going to be a better shooter when I do that.
Wait, what? For real?
Yeah.
You want to catch the ball on your right hip?
Yep, I do. And it's just because of the way that, and I'm better shooting when I'm off the dribble, when I'm moving left to right, which is counterintuitive as well. But every shooter has those little nuances in their preference, and that's what a point guard is there to do, is to get them the ball in time in the pocket, right? So when you watch them, don't think about just did the shot go down or not. Watch where they caught the ball, where their feet were, and did they receive a really good, well-timed pass in the right spot. So it goes deeper than did the shot go in or not. Maxey with a great finish, by the way.
Yeah, Maxey with a great finish.
Dude,
also, very interesting.
Ball, let's go.
A very interesting layup by Duncan Robinson coming down the other way.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about it, right? Some guys are catch and shoot guys, and when you take away the point guard and you force them to put the ball on the floor and make things happen, different players. They look like different players. Danny Green is like this. Duncan Robinson could get some of that treatment tonight.
This is Kona. Been getting some dog comments on our live stream here. This is Kona. She's what, almost 5? Mm-hmm. No, she just turned 5.
Yes.
Just turned 5. If you follow me on Twitter, like that's about 50% of what I tweet. Dog photos or baby photos. That's about it.
So it looks like Maxey is on Harrow with Ben on Robinson. So
Yep.
that's
And
interesting.
that actually doesn't surprise me with Maxey on Hero. It doesn't that really doesn't surprise me at all.
So what you're doing is the Sixers are saying is let Harrow beat them in hero ball, right? So that's the strategy that they're walking in the game with.
Didn't they?
Ben will take away
30 points or so, like last Saturday.
What was your question?
Didn't Tyler Herro just put up like a massive like 30 burger like last Saturday?
But again, when the team's this shorthanded, a 30 by one guy, not gonna happen. It's not gonna win you a game.
Yeah.
So you're inviting him to score 30 points, right? And you're just gonna close off all of the other players, and you're gonna hold them to a 95-point output as a team.
Yep.
I think we should just put Dakota Mathias on Tyler Hero and see what happens. What you guys think? That would work, right?
So, Coyle says, I want to punch Kelly Olynyk in the face every time I see him. Coyle says it's going to be a 50% plus night for Green. Let's hope so. Who's defending Ben Simmons right now? Anybody know?
Wow, Mike hit a 3.
The return of Mike. Is this the Mike Scott
He must be a little
game? If this is the Mike Scott game, I'll eat all the crow. I haven't been very nice about.
All right. So those are the kind of. I just saw the 3.
Sorry.
You see him catch high and keep it high and shoot it. That's a thing that they train, right? So most of us have to load up from our waist. Mike is a really good shooter, and one of those things, and even Danny Green just hitting that 3, he came from his waist. But Mike caught that pass in the corner. He caught it basically at face level and went straight up with it and got it and released it and made that shot. Those are the nuances that they train, that stuff that's like so far beyond anything we do, right?
Yeah, the Sixers are up 15-6 on a quick 5-minute run here in the first quarter. The Sixers are shooting 3 of 4 from 3. They're making a statement coming out of last night. They could not make a 3 to save their life. They've got Danny Green 2 for 2 from 3, 6 points, and Mike Scott 1 of 2 from 3 for 5 points, 11 points from Danny Green and Mike Scott. Talk about a game that. Someone might have made a lot of money on that one. There might have been like a FanDuel thing on that one. But
guys, if you want to make money on betting, always bet on a team on the second night of a back-to-back being hot in the first quarter. Like now that they have all these very specific bets you can make, teams that played the night before usually have a really good first quarter and fade in the second half. Okay. So let's not get too excited, but a little bit of betting advice for the future. That first quarter for a team that played the night before is usually a good shooting quarter.
Aram bet 300 on the Sixers.
Rooting for you, Aram. We're rooting for you, buddy. We'll see.
What did Connor say here?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. As long as Duncan keeps putting up bricks, Sixers win by 50. What do you guys think about that?
Duncan Robinson is 1 of 4 from 3 for 4 points.
I don't know why he's forcing it. He's got Ben Simmons on him.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Connor is an avid Celtics fan. I know it's one of my buddies. So he may come on one of these streams for the Celtics game. So everyone say hi to Spalds.
What's up, Spalds? What's going on, man? Thanks for joining. Is that your boy for your pod?
No, that's Corey, but this is Connor. They have the same birthday, and both my best friends. But he's an avid Celtics fan. So
I feel bad. My apologies. So.
Oh, how dare you? How dare you?
Celtics so much, man. I hate them, man.
If you had, how much would you love Marcus Smart if he was on the Sixers?
I would love Marcus Smart on this.
No, I agree.
Like,
And
before
listen,
we really talk shit about like, what do you hate about the Celtics? It's mostly the Marcus Smart attitude. But if he was on it's
Nah, man, it's that green. It's the green. There's something about that shitty green that I can't stand it. Nah, man.
yo, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with like Marcus Morris. Like Morris is one of those guys. I'm like, I hate him. But like when he was on the Celtics, I hated him. Even when he's on the Clippers, I don't like the guy. But like if he was on the Sixers, he would be so fun, and everyone would be saying, "Oh, he's got that Philly grit. He's from Philly, playing for Philly. He's got that Philly grit to him." Like,
100%.
Yeah, but he'd be 30 pounds overweight because he's in Philly with his family, eating every night, not working out. This is why you could never trade for Kyle Lowry, because Kyle Lowry is already overweight.
Look, Connor said, I hate the Sixers just as much as you guys hate the Celtics.
That's totally fair. Totally fair. That is all good. Just when the Sixers play the Celtics, let's talk, man. Let's talk.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
Look at Danny Green.
I'll make sure he gets on here. I'll make sure he gets on here. We could definitely shoot the shit about the Celtics and the Sixers. He's not a crazy Celtics fan where he'll sit here and he'll actually have a legitimate conversation about it.
Jason, are you joining us for the night?
Yeah, I'll hang out. I'm watching.
All right.
Ooh.
Man, we're
Guys,
honored.
this is special. We have a legitimate NBA beat reporter hanging out with us for the night.
I was here for the draft.
Usually it's just us talking crazy the whole night.
I was here for 5 hours in the draft.
That was a long day, but how fun was that, man? How fun was that? My goodness.
Watching Maxey fall that night was like, okay.
I remember being like really angry that we didn't take Tyrell Terry and being like, oh, wait a minute, we got Tyrese Maxey, because I actually forgot he fell too. Even though me, Thiago, and Austin had him ranked in like near like the top 10, like 10, 11. And I totally forgot. Like I was included with every other GM in the NBA. I couldn't believe he was falling. But that was such a fun day because I remember we were getting ready to live stream for the NBA draft. And I was like, Jason, I messaged you. I was like, look how many people are waiting for our live stream. And it was like 600 people.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was 600 people?
It was a lot of people. I'm trying not to curse, but
it was crazy.
It was a lot of people. And I think that was the first moment where we were like, oh, this season's going to be a little different.
You know what's funny is I was one of the people that was watching that live stream.
It was a lot of people. It was like riding a wave, I think we're just used to it now. But with the comments, it was just like, whoo, riding a wave.
It was by far the second most nervous I've ever done hosting a live stream, because I never done anything like that in my life. The first one was by far Mark Zumoff and Tom McGinnis. That was like, Jason, I can't tell you how long I like prep. I don't prep anything for these. This is like I just kind of go, and I was like, my hands were like. Tell
the story about how we made that happen.
Hold up, real quick. Isaiah Joe just hit a 3.
Wow, let's go, Isaiah Joe.
Isaiah Joe can shoot.
I'll
shoot, but hasn't been showing it much.
He's too skinny to play yet, but he's going to be good.
Come on, damn it.
I like the confidence from Isaiah Joe there too, because
make
that 4 of 8, I think, now from 3 of these last 2 games so far. So
he's got a better handle than I thought too.
Isaiah? Yeah, he's the next Kevin Durant, don't you know? Don't you know?
Sure. All right. So is Mariel Shayok.
Yeah. No. Actually, Shayok is the second coming of Kevin Durant. This guy is just close to it.
We love Mariel Shayok, right? Delaware Blue Coat. I heard all this stuff. I watched him in training
drafts.
No. I probably saw him in pre-draft, but in training camp with the Sixers before they did cut downs, I was hearing all this like, oh, Kevin Durant, and I'm seeing him in person. I'm like, no. And then there's all this hype, and he starts really putting up big numbers in Delaware, and everyone's excited. I'm like, no, no.
This is something we've consistently talked about, and I've said it a few times, and I said it literally last live stream. But Kevin Durant is a different person. Like he is one of a kind. He's a guy. He's a unicorn. He's a guy you're not going to see come out of the draft for another 20 years, maybe not even if that. Like he's a guy that he's one of a kind. You're not going to see that again.
Yeah.
A guy, and we've talked about this before too. That like guys in the G League, like Mario Shayak, who's putting up a lot of numbers, but getting hard buckets. A lot of the things he's scoring are a lot of dribbles, shots directly people directly in front of you, hard buckets. You look at a guy like Shake Milton, who quick thinker, couple dribbles to the like one dribble to the basket, one dribble shot, easy baskets. And that's the big difference between someone who makes it in the NBA and someone who doesn't. Totally. And that's the real difference between a guy like Shayak and a guy like Shake Milton, who both of them scoring a lot in the G League, but that isn't always going to translate to the NBA like Shake says.
Yeah.
Watch the shooting pocket on that Mike Scott 3, right? So Ben hits him exactly in the right hip. So I agree entirely with everything you said, Justin. You're not even going to get to attempt those difficult shots.
Woo! Nice block by Danny Green right there on Tyler Hero. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you're not even going to get to attempt those shots that Shayak got to attempt in Delaware. You just won't even get those. Mm-hmm. Whereas Shake the year before showed that he was a catch and shoot guy early in the year, and then started to initiate in the pick and roll later in that G League season. Those are the things that translate. Nothing that Shayak did, with the exception of a decent shot, I saw as translating. And defensively, they had to hide him every game in Delaware.
I remember
when I pump the brakes on guys, it's because it's just like some things translate and some don't.
I remember sitting there and watching the game with you, Jason. We're watching Merrill Shayak at the 76ers Fieldhouse, and I was like, this ain't it. And everyone,
if anybody here doesn't know,
oh my gosh, 33 points. Oh my gosh, 36 points. Well, he took 30 plus shots a game to get there, and it was never going to happen. But Shake was a completely different ballgame. You saw Shake in the pick and roll. That was real.
Yep.
And by the way, if anyone doesn't know, 76ers Fieldhouse is the Delaware, where the Delaware Bluecoats play in Delaware. So that's what they're talking about there. Jason and Dibes both went there pretty frequently what was it, 2 years ago?
Oh, no. I mean, I basically cover every home game for them and the Sixers. So I consider myself the two-way beat guy. There were a lot of weeks where I was like in both places and at practices in Camden, and it was a lot of basketball.
Well, that's why I'm excited. I'm excited to hopefully when Delaware starts playing again, I'm excited to get down there.
Yeah, it's a great place to just experience the game on a different level, and you watch guys that are really just not millionaires. They're chasing a dream. They're sacrificing a ton away from home, and you find guys that you see a glimmer of a skill that might translate, and somebody you see just work their tail off, and when it pays off,
you love to see it. It's like watching a kid grow up. To be honest with you, that's what like Shake Milton for me. Like when we drafted Shake, like mind you, like, and I've talked about this with you guys before, but the year we drafted Shake and Landry Shamet was like the first year I really started like paying attention to basketball fully. And watching, like, when Shake got injured, I was like, damn it. Like, it's like in my head, I'm like, he has a chance to make the team. He's a second round pick, but he really has a shot. And like, when he came in the next year and got a shot with the team and was making shots, making his catch and shoot threes, I was like, he's getting there. And then he got hurt. And I was like, damn it. And then like last year when he came back and showed what he was capable of after watching what he was doing in the G League, I was like, this guy is going to be good for this team. And it's exciting for not only him, but also for the team. With the contract that he signed, like, did it surprise either of you guys that he signed such a like team-friendly contract?
No. All right, let me tell a quick Shake story from his rookie year. So watched him all year in Delaware he was a two-way guy, right? That first year.
Yeah.
And they go into the playoffs, and the two-way guys are not eligible to play, but they travel with the team. So I'm with the team in Toronto, and the two-way guys were Haywood Highsmith and Shake Milton. We're in Toronto, and those two are absolutely going at each other one-on-one in warm-ups before the game. I mean, they are just like trying to kill each other one-on-one. And Highsmith was a very good defensive player, 6'7", bigger than Shake, really good defensive player. And Haywood and I got to know each other really well. So we are talking in the locker room, and I'm like, you guys were going at it. And Haywood was like, yeah, he was giving me the work. And you just saw Shake like never stop progressing. He came into that season he actually fell in that draft. Ooh, yikes.
Yeah. He's all right.
All right. So he came into that draft with a fracture in a vertebrae in his lower back. He couldn't walk without pain until September that year before training camp. He was nowhere near 100% heading into that rookie year in Delaware.
Yeah.
But by March, April, May in Toronto, you started to see him physically able to really get to full speed. And he's just progressed literally every month I've watched him for his entire career. He's gotten better every month. And that's really, it's pretty rare. It's pretty cool to see. He also is super self-aware around what he needs to improve in himself. And it's like guys like that, you can bank on, you can bet on guys like that.
I think something that's important to talk about too is Shake, and I think Dives is the one I heard these stats from. But when he was in college, I don't think anybody should be surprised about the catch and shoot numbers he was showing for this team, even as a young guy coming into the league. Like, was he not shooting like over 50% catch and shoot in college for SMU?
And it went up and down between 45 and 50% at SMU. Yeah. He was at the same number with the Delaware Bluecoats, and last year he was like 45%.
Yeah, and I think that's
he's been in the pick and roll. He's like in like the 67th percentile. Like he catch and shoot, pick and roll, off ball. Shake has it all. It just is really up to his defense.
Yeah, and I think. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
I think he's still got to get stronger, lower body, more explosive, right? And that's going to unlock the defense, his ability to fight through screens. His frame is great. His shoulders are wide. It's really just like leg presses and lower body strength. Like that's why I think people can be excited about him. To your point about the contract, was I surprised he signed it? No, because he was a two-way guy getting an offer for a 4-year NBA contract. So no, I wasn't surprised by him taking that because he really just hadn't had the track record. I think the Sixers were really lucky in how the timing of all that worked.
Howard's getting a lot of fouls right now. Just get back to the game a little bit. I mean, he's being aggressive trying to get boards, and he's just getting called for a lot right now. Something that Aram asked. He said, Jason Blevins, how did you get so involved with the NBA and their players?
So a lot of it really is, I mean, I know that people that want to get involved in this stuff want to jump in and become Woj, but yeah. I was talking to Austin Krell the other day about this. You know, Woj is Woj because of 20 years of talking to people in the way that they'd like to be talked to, caring about people, everyone. From the minute you walk in the door of an arena, the security guard that you're going through security, you see the same people day after day, caring about those people, treating each other well, not thinking about what you can get out of this, but really trying to understand other people's journeys and where they want to go, and then evaluating them fairly, giving them honest feedback in that. Those are things that eventually you do that with the security guards. You do that with the G League players. You do that with the rookies, and guys in the locker room notice, right? So Joel Embiid, I'll tell a quick story. The day that Norvel Pell signed his NBA contract last year, Norvel and I spent a ton of time in Delaware together, where neither of us were making a lot of money. And we just spent quality time talking. We got to know each other. The day he signs that contract, he's in Philly. His locker is next to Joel Embiid. So I'm talking with Norvel. We're both really excited. I say to Joel, who I knew, we've had conversations, and I want Joel to include him in this conversation about a guy who just realized his dream. It's really about not trying to get a story or put your own interests ahead of guys that are chasing a dream. And that's how you build trust. You don't build it overnight. And you deepen relationships by understanding people, where they're trying to go. And that just pays off in the long run, right?
Yeah, I think the best way to sum that up for everybody is just relationship building. Like that's what Woj is. That's what Jason does. It's making sure that you're not just there as a reporter for yourself. You're there for the people you're reporting to, but also the players. You're there to get the information out as honestly as you can, how it is. And that's what it is. It's when players and people around any league, any organization, any job really trust you. When people trust you, that's going to be a person you go to. And people like Woj, or like, I think another good example is Stephen A. Smith, who have really good relationships with players around the league. That's who players will go to and feel okay trusting to have them break a story or have them talk to you. So I think that's what I see, at least from an outside in, looking at what Jason does and looking at what guys like that do.
Yeah, and I don't focus on breaking stories, right? So yeah. We've broken stories. We certainly have broken stories. And Brian Jacobs is sort of the guy that is our
insider.
Well, he's our story breaker. He and I have access to a lot of the same information. I'm not going to give away trade secrets, right? I can only say so much. What I'll tell you is that what I use is a ton of feedback from trainers, from agents, from players off the record, and a lot of stuff off the record to validate if what I'm seeing is correct, the vibes I'm getting are correct, or am I seeing things the wrong way? Help me understand it. So where I will not send out the bomb, I just don't really have a lot of interest in dropping like bombs. You'll see me gently sort of caress you in the space of don't get too excited about Mariel Shayok, or hey, Shake Milton is looking really good. And I do it in a subtle way. But just know that behind every one of those sort of like subtle hint and nudges, there's a lot of validation that I've done in the background to make sure that I'm not crazy, right? Because I trust my ability to read statistics. I trust my ability to assess what I'm seeing, but there's a ton of other people that are scouting and looking at these things, and you should really hear from other people as well. So there's a combination of factors that we just try to be on the right side of history and look back 3 years ago. Were the things I was saying correct, or were they incorrect? And I just want to be someone that you can look back on my tweets, and aside from some of the bad misses in draft evals, which everyone has, I try to be on the right side of history.
Quick score update. The Sixers are up 28-25 heading in the second quarter. The Sixers started out hot from three. They hit their first 3 out of 4 shots. Danny Green, Mike Scott, 2 of 10 to finish out the quarter. So the Miami Heat went on a little run there. Everything looked peaches and cream for the Sixers early on in that first quarter. Heat came back. Here we go.
Can I just I know this is going to sound terrible, but if you're an undersized player who's not an athletic beast, you should be doing everything possible to limit your wind resistance and make yourself as aerodynamic as possible. Like, I don't. Here's a weird thing I noticed in high school.
What was that?
The female swimmers would grow their leg hair to be more hydrodynamic, and the male swimmers would shave their legs to be more hydrodynamic. I don't understand how both of those could be true.
I have no idea.
Huh? Where is this conversation going?
I've heard
Well,
that.
I'm just saying. I'm looking at who's the guard on the Heat. He's just got big hair and he's like super undersized, and I think you can't do that. Like no extra equipment, no big shoes.
What was that?
Tell that to Quentin Cook.
That travel by Ben was weird looking.
Yeah, it was weird looking. He was complaining about something too. I don't
I think he thought he got tripped.
Oh,
all right.
I mean, I didn't see that, but
All right. Well, the Heat just took the lead over the Sixers. Pretty sure that's their first lead. The Sixers had an 11-point lead. Now the Heat are up 2. Sixers are being led by Mike freaking Scott with 10 points in the first quarter, which is outrageous. Considering
part of me thinks some of that has to, like, the fact that he's leading the scoring is they're trying to be. Oh my God, I'm dropping things. All right, hold on. I think they're trying to not gas their best players right now because they don't have the typical lineup they would want out there. So part of me thinks they're trying to save Joel a little bit for the end of the game, because obviously he's going to be our number one scorer usually throughout a basketball game. But because you don't have guys like Seth Curry and Shake Milton also out on the perimeter where they can handle the ball a little bit more and handle that perimeter scoring, to me I think that's probably why you're seeing them play how they are playing.
Well, isn't Ben just getting into the teeth of the defense and kicking out to the corner, which Miami's giving up that corner 3?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would give it up for Mike Scott too. What has he been hitting lately?
Again, it's good pass equals a good shot with those guys.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but it's frustrating when, and we already talked about this. Obviously, like some players just aren't the same when it comes to like being able to create their own shots and be able to get their shot off in irregular circumstances, like Danny Green, like Mike Scott. But it's frustrating when they're two guys are veterans and you'd think that wouldn't affect them as much at times because they are vets, because they've been in a lot of situations, but that's not always the case.
Nope.
All 6 turnovers from the Sixers are between Danny Green and Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons has kind of been plagued by the turnover bug this season. His turnover percentage is pretty outrageous. That's why so many people are like seeing Tyrese Maxey have a high usage rate and not turn over the ball, and it's just such a breath of fresh air.
Do you think, though, that has something to do with the fact that Maxey did run a good amount of pick and roll when he was in college, and Ben, as he's stated before and as people have stated, that he hasn't run it basically since he's played basketball because he's so damn big?
Maxey didn't run it too much at Kentucky. It wasn't a huge amount of sample size. He definitely played a lot of off ball and ISO at Kentucky as well. So there was that as well, just to kind of like play devil's advocate on Maxey's side. But you're right. Like Ben Simmons doesn't have much background in the pick and roll, and we should expect to see him take his growing pains. But you've got to limit turnovers. You've got to. So Ben has 3 turnovers in 12 minutes and 4 assists. So just something something you would like to see a little improve a little bit, and especially his ability to attack the basket he's got 0 points tonight. I know, like I said 1,000 times, points aren't everything, but you look at this Miami Heat roster, you would like to see a little bit more.
Yeah, nice pass by, or I guess, sorry, not nice pass. Tyrese Maxey jacks up a deep three. Dwight Howard comes down with a rebound and just dunks it so hard on the rim.
Nice.
And a good defensive turnover by Precious Achua. I think Achua.
It's Achua.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and Danny short rim Green.
Nice dunk by
Danny front rim is what we were calling him, right?
Yeah, last night. Danny front rim.
Yep. Danny front rim Green, man. He's a beast.
I think it was Danny front rim and Danny Brown.
Yep.
That's what we were calling him last night.
I think Dwight was missing some putback dunks a few games ago. Missing quite a bit. He's tried to dunk much harder the last couple of games, I've noticed. Even hanging on the rim. He hasn't been called for hanging on the rim yet, but I think it's just time until he does.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that has to do with just him trying to be an energy player for the team? Like him trying to get
he doesn't have great hands.
No, he does not have great hands. That is true.
I've been talking to Brock right now, back and forth about like stats and data and all that kind of stuff, because I want to make some videos with charts and graphs and all that kind of stuff. And like even Brock just confirmed, like, you're taking all these games with a grain of salt because they don't mean anything, and you like the stats don't. They're just meaningless. So he just confirmed that. I'm just laughing. Brock and Tiago are stat people.
Wow, Danny Green hit a shot.
I'm getting
your camera, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
BRB.
We're taking over. Me and Jason are taking over. We're gonna block Dives every time he tries to come into the live stream again. So no, we're removing you. We're removing you. You're not allowed anymore.
What?
You took a poll.
You're clear. Totally clear.
I got a new webcam. It's an HD 1080p Logitech webcam, and it comes with its own like studio.
Yeah.
And like seeing me talk in like 1080 HD for the first time, I was like, whoa, dude, I'm ugly as shit, man.
That's great.
So it's fun to record videos now in like a really good quality.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is supposed to be 1080p as well, but I think I want to say StreamYard only allows 720.
Yep. Correct.
So, yeah, I mean, it's better. I was getting 480 before, so I'll take 720.
Is this the Mike Scott game? Mike Scott now has 13 points in 12 minutes.
I must be behind you guys because I just saw Ben Simmons' offensive foul.
That's what I saw too. The Mike Scott was before that.
Yeah, I'm a good 30 seconds behind.
Yeah, like I said, Mike and Danny Green are going to be dependent on the passes that they get in the spots that they get them. They're not going to create for you. I appreciate Doc fighting that one, but that was an obvious offensive foul. Like, that's no brainer.
Yo, can we talk about who's number 2 on their team? The guard, the undersized guard, because I don't even know who that is. So I'm going to figure that out real quick.
Number 2 is Silva? No,
he's
Vincent. Vincent, right?
Okay.
Gabe Vincent. He's from UCSB. It's his first season. He's averaging 7 points per game on the season. I never heard of him.
I'm looking. You said it's Gabe Vincent? Gabe
Vincent. I don't think he was drafted.
I mean, listen, it wouldn't surprise me at all because Miami's good at that shit.
They're good at developing.
So Gabe Vincent, 1 second. Gabe Vincent, he is 6'3". He's 24 years old, or 6'3", 200 pounds, 24 years old. He did go undrafted. He went to California, St. Barbara. Right now he's averaging 7 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Let me look at his bio.
I'm guessing that's why he's got his hair growing out.
So
Not 6'3".
So last year he was named as the NBA G League Most Improved Player.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was.
Who do you play for? Does it say?
I'm assuming the Miami Heat. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that. It doesn't say. It says in his honors, 2019, 2020 was named the NBA G League Most Improved Player. Last year that split the season between the Heat of the NBA and the Sioux Falls Skyforce and the Stockton Kings.
Sioux Falls is the Heat.
Okay, so he split time with the Skyforce and Stockton Kings of the NBA G League. He came off the bench in the 9 games last year that he spent with the Heat, averaging 2 points per game. Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot to talk about there, but he, I don't think we have to spend that long on a guy, but like that. But he has been with the Heat since last year, and he was the most improved player for the G League last year as well. I believe
so he scored 24 a game, which in the G League is fine. He shot 42% from 3, which is good. 2 assists, so it looks like he played off ball for Stockton last year. 20 games, 32 minutes a game. So yeah, he's one of those players that
he did not play against the Bluecoats. I'm trying to find, because I don't remember that name, because I watch a lot of Bluecoats games.
I don't think Stockton had been to the field house last year before they shut down.
They played in February, and he was inactive for that game. It was in San Diego. So anyway.
Maxey, man, he is really good off ball. He's recognizing plays on defense. His mind moves really quick.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot last night because we didn't really have much to talk about, but we talked pretty much about Tyrese Maxey for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's the guy to talk about.
It's the little things that impress you so much about Tyrese Maxey. It's the confidence, it's the fearlessness, it's his ability to find the open man, the ball handling. It's all that stuff. Like that, we talk about shooting and the athleticism, the quick first step, but I'm just blown away at him just not being afraid of the moment. Like the Sixers haven't had a guard like that in forever. It's so refreshing to watch.
What do you think his ceiling is?
That is the question. We've been talking about that. My ceiling, I'm not going to put a name on it. I see Tyrese Maxey as like a 15 to 16 points per game, 35% from 3, all NBA defense, and just a gamer in the pick and roll. I'm not saying Tony Parker-esque, but just a really efficient player that's got tremendous IQ. What about you?
I'm really still trying to figure it out. I think it's to quote Keith Pompey, it's the $1 million question. Now he was asking Ben about his shooting, but yeah, it's trying to understand what his upside is. I think really is maybe the biggest question for the Sixers front office right now, because if you think he's Tony Parker, he's not available in trade talks.
I brought that up last night. I was like, could Tyrese Maxey be the next Tony Parker? Because, man, Danny Green is on fire, man. Let's go, Danny Green. We talked about how amazingly fun it was to watch Tony Parker. You remember this, Jason? Like, how great was Tony Parker operating the pick and roll in that Spurs system of ball movement? It was just so ahead of the game. Could Tyrese Maxey, like they kind of play the same kind of way. Like he just kind of operates that he's not super fast, but he kind of can he's crafty and
he's pretty fast.
He's got a ton of IQ and Tony Parker is a crazy, crazy ceiling because he's one of my favorite players of all time and one of the best pick and roll guards of all time as well. But that's the biggest strength of Tyrese Maxey that he has going for himself is how good can this guy be in a pick and roll system? And that's what's so exciting.
You know what can be surprising real quick, just going back to talk about the game a little bit, is Joel Embiid's only put up 3 shots this game.
I mean, that's why you're seeing so many corner 3 attempts. They're just packing the paint. Look at that, just collapsing into the paint to take away Ben and Joel, and just Danny Green and Mike Scott are gonna get all the shots they can handle.
This is the comment of the night. Did you guys see the Danny Green getting heckled last night by the guy? Like, dude, you shot 0 for 10. You gotta shoot better, bro.
God. So I'm not gonna lie. So I help run the Painted Lines Twitter account. I so wanted to post that on the Twitter account, but I wasn't sure if I should have, so I didn't. But like that cracked me up. Like I was dying laughing. I didn't want to slander Danny Green.
It was great.
Both things can be true, right? I mean, he went 0 for 7, and also he's been a significant member of 3 championship teams. Yeah,
we're just hoping that we can get like Raptors Danny Green. That'd be nice. Yeah, I think I said this, and I backed Danny Green last night as well. It's like don't overreact, don't take anything you see, and just make a statement because it means nothing. Everything you see, it means nothing. The team's not together. The way the team was constructed has just been thrown out the window. So it's just you look at, however, Danny Green's stats when the team was 7-1. Danny Green was shooting much better, and his defense was very good. So I think Danny Green is the overreaction can be a little much.
I have a question for you real quick. The caption of the video was the Sixers fultzed it or something like that. What does that mean? What are you referring to?
My bad. They said the Sixers put a fultz, meaning this was part of the post-game show from last night. Is that what you're talking about?
Mm-hmm. Someone in the comments asked that question.
Meaning they forgot how to shoot. They could not hit a shot. They got the yips. I don't know.
Yep. No. I just thought it was funny because I saw the title of the video and I'm like, what does he mean by that? It took me a second. That makes sense though, because someone in the comments was like of that video was like, what do they mean by fultzed? I was like, I was gonna answer. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm like,
yeah, they had one of the worst offensive ratings that game on the season. It is what it is. That was a painful game to watch.
You're telling me.
Floater. I think one thing we just have to keep in mind with this team is you trust Doc Rivers as a coach, and one of the reasons, it's a good thing and a bad thing, they have so many of these unitasker type players where if you ask them to do exactly what they specialize in, they can be really effective. If you need them to go do other things, they just can't. They have a lot of those players. And when Doc has a full complement and they have time together, there's huge upside in that. But when you start to pull pieces of like a well-oiled machine, start to pull parts of it out, it's not good. It can look really bad some nights. There's just so many of those very specific role players on this team.
I would love to find an upgrade for Mike Scott. Like if they can find at the trade deadline someone off waivers or something, and find.
Sorry.
Oh boy! All right. Well, I'm like 30 seconds behind.
Yeah, you're gonna like that one.
Oh baby. Oh baby.
TJ.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking.
He's a really smart player.
He really is.
That's why it makes it hard to predict what his upside is.
Oh, that is 100% TJ. Well said, Jason.
And if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Tyrese Maxey missed a little like shot, probably like 5 feet from the or whatever. He missed a shot close to the rim, and he followed it up. And by when I think it was Achua got the rebound, he smacked out of his hands, grabbed it, and put it up for the layup.
I could watch this all day. This entire sequence of the Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey pick and roll, I could watch this all day long, man. This is awesome.
So does that mean you want to watch James Harden and Joel Embiid pick and roll?
I'm not anti James Harden. I'm just anti like rushing into a trade right now when you don't know what you have yet.
Yeah, and that's something I touched on last game as well in our watch party, where I'm like, something that's going to be interesting is going to be whether or not trades are going to be such a big thing this year, in my opinion, with the amount of games that are postponed and with the amount of players that aren't actually playing with their teams, and being that a lot of them are high-level players as well. To me, like it's like a lot of teams aren't going to be able to see what they have a lot of times, and it's going to be interesting to see if that's going to mean if that's going to affect the trade market at all.
I think it will. I think Maxey.
I would be down for Ilya Silva.
So I think
I would be 100% down for some Urson on this team.
I think GMs who are on the hot seat, they make panic trades.
Did you see Tyrese Maxey just cook like the Vincent guy? That was awesome.
Oh, trust me, we saw it 30 seconds ago.
Shut up, Justin.
I think you're going to see some people panic. Opportunistic GMs are going to make moves based on other people's panic. And I think you're also going to see players like Bradley Beal, Zach LaVine, who are you're already starting to see the signs of it, where they're frustrated, where they're getting the reputation of being a good player on a losing team. And they're going to want to gravitate towards better situations to redeem their reputations. So I do think players are going to become available.
Yeah.
So actually, something you said specifically right there, Bradley Beal and Zach LaVine, two players that are obviously okay. I shouldn't say obviously, because there are people who will sit there and say, "Oh, what have they done? They haven't done anything with their careers," which is true. But they also haven't been put in good situations to do things well in their careers, whether it be the GM's fault or players not developing as much as they thought they would. So, like, to me, especially a guy like Zach LaVine, who's, if I'm not mistaken, 25, 26 years old, and in my opinion, still has some upside and still has some growth in his career. Like, how likely is it for a guy like that to be able to be traded for if the Sixers were looking for a guy like that?
Players can force their way out if they blame the front office. They can make life really difficult. So they can force trades. They just those types of players can do that.
And something I saw. I think it was. I saw it today. I tweeted out today because I think it was. I think O'Connor, was it? I tweeted out today because it was somebody else from the Ringer. I think it was Kevin O'Connor had said it, but about the Sixers being interested in Beal.
Yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they be interested?
I think every single team in the NBA is interested in Beal.
Okay. I should rephrase that.
No, if I'm
the Sixers are interested in Beal, but do we have the package to be able to get a guy like that?
Yeah, here's the sales pitch.
I want to interrupt you. Joe Show says, do you guys know Sports Talk with Brody? Brody, we had a show with Brody today at 11 this morning.
Hold on, I was literally on. I was on that radio show at 3:20 Tuesdays at 3:20. You can see me on.
Yeah.
You can hear me on ESPN radio.
So
the
Flyered Up podcast had Brody on and did a Flyer season preview. It's on our YouTube channel, talking about Flyers for tomorrow night's season opener. So that's so funny you brought that up. Go ahead. Sorry.
All right. Here's the pitch I'm making if I'm the Sixers. If I'm Daryl Morey, I'm calling the Wizards. I want to make a pitch for Bradley Beal. I am pointing out the woeful defense that team has. I'm pointing out the queen of the chessboard that I have in a Ben Simmons. I am talking to nice putback. I am talking to them about their shooters that they can put around a Ben Simmons and how he can help them in multiple ways with the development of Denny, with just the offensive weapons that they've got, and how Bradley Beal is a great player, but the size and versatility of a Ben Simmons can unlock the potential of the other players that they've got. I'm selling the Wizards on the defensive pairing, and I know he's hurt, of their big man and Ben Simmons as a backline pairing to clean up some of the deficiencies from their tall shooters that they've got. That's the start of the conversation. And then I'm convincing them that I've got a couple of other pieces to add into that. I just think that you can make a fit argument for a Ben Simmons and Bradley Beal swap that makes sense for both sides. Right? And if I'm calling Chicago, it's a different conversation. I think it's harder to make that right now with Tobias not playing.
Yeah. Marquis says Tyrese Maxey got that AI energy and dog I love to watch. Steven says we should not be down 10. WTF, I see another blowout coming soon. And Marquis says Maxey playing with the energy is what is keeping the Sixers in this game. Tyrese Maxey has 11 points in 21 minutes tonight, 4 assists. Again, repeat, Tyrese Maxey has 0 goose egg turnovers on the game so far in this half. Just absolutely incredible how this guy limits turnovers. And that is just, we talk about the little things that Tyrese Maxey does. That's got to be really high on the list.
Yeah, and speaking of Tyrese Maxey, this is our guy, Brock Landis. If you don't know who he is, Brock is one of our best numbers guys. Like, honestly, one of the best guys you can find with 76ers on YouTube. So make sure you go follow him on YouTube at Brock Landis, I believe. Stay solid. He is the solid man when it comes to putting out Sixers content. And this is a great take from him right here. Maxey has the most points on drives among 71 rookies and the second highest drive field goal percentage among rookies with 20 or more shots on drives. And I don't think that's surprising to anybody. Adds to the Maxey conversation.
I think he's good. What I'd like to see, and part of it is the refs and the rookie whistle, but I'd like to see him get to the line more. Yeah, I'd like to see him get to the line more.
Yeah.
But he's very crafty. He finishes well, and he avoids contact well. And the question is, when he builds a reputation, does he get to the point where he can seek contact, still finish, and get to the line? Because I think that will really unlock. When you see that, that's when you say, okay, now we have like a potential all-star in the league level player. Without it, it's just such a free throws and threes game in the NBA now.
Yep.
You've got to see someone that's doing that. I think his 39-point night, he made 2 threes right at the end of the game that changed the equation on his efficiency. But the Nuggets were really happy to let him take 16, 18 footers and blow the Sixers out by 20 points. Like, those are just the shots they were going to give him. So getting to the line is going to be a game changer for him.
Nadir says Brody is crazy. He drinks too much coffee before making the videos. I think that's like everyone has their like shtick. Like I try to find that balance between being objective and staying like even keel, but also kind of having a good time and being excited. Brody crushes the concept of being that loudmouth, just super revved up fan. You know that and he sells it and he crushes it. So everyone kind of has their own kind of role, and he really does a great job doing what he does. So Hunter Brody is awesome for that, and it's been profitable for him too. So no one's complaining about Hunter Brody. He does what he does, and he nails it. So
Hold on.
Let me bring up,
Hold on.
Can I talk?
I really don't think Embiid is a franchise player. He cannot really carry a team as Harden, Steph, or LeBron. Okay, for one, real quick, Jason, before you go. You can be a franchise player without carrying a team like Harden, Steph, or LeBron plays. You can be a franchise player without having to score 40 a night to make your team good. You don't have to do that to be like, no. I just want to point that out there, but go ahead, Jason.
I think part of this is the problem with the rule set of the NBA, the modern NBA. They do. I would highly recommend the book called Sprawl Ball. It's really about the analytics revolution and how it's fundamentally changed the game of basketball and how you fix it. But one of the things it goes through and is the history of the paint and post play. There are just designs in the NBA rule set that take away and make it much harder for a big man to play and to dominate. Much easier to double in the post and take away those things. So I'm hearing myself feedback.
Rob, mute yourself.
Yeah, you don't have echo cancellation. So I think that Embiid is one of the most dominant forces in the league defensively, period. So when we talk about points, the way that teams want to score, they want to score at the rim and from three. He takes the at the rim portion and fundamentally alters the game plan against the Sixers. Now, offensively, I watch consistently the amount of contact that he gets that never gets called. And I know he lives at the line. But if they called the amount of contact that Harden gets, or even LeBron or Steph, if they called that level on any of these centers, you'd see a completely different game of basketball. And it would be a slower paced game. And I think the league likes the threes and dunks. I think they love it.
It suits better for highlights. Simple as that.
Of course it does.
They can make more money off of putting things out on social media. They can put highlight films together. They can. It just ultimately it sells. It sells better.
It does.
I think something
he is absolutely a singularly dominant force in the NBA. In the top five, when you look at other teams' game plan, there is no doubt they have to deal with him number one. And there's five guys like that. Yeah. So I totally disagree that he's not a franchise player, because I think he makes it easier for everything else that happens around him. And that's up to the coach and the GM.
And I agree. And I think what Steven says here again, he says it's just so easy to neutralize. And I would disagree with that. The only way he's neutralized is when he gets double teamed, but then he gets, and even then he's not neutralized because he can get other people open and create good shots for his teammates. So that should show more than anything.
No, I think it shouldn't be viewed as a critique of the player as much as a critique of the structure of the type of play that the league wants. And I think the league would love to have a bunch of 6'7" dudes out there, like flying and shooting and dunking. Like that's the game that they'd like to give you.
You wonder why you see a guy like oh my goodness, the names escape me right now. His nickname's Airplane Mode. But
what was his name? Chris Anderson? No.
What?
That was like
Birdman. No.
Birdman.
No. I mean, he played for the Heat. He's playing for the Blazers right now. I can't remember his name right now for the life of me, but he's a guy who's like a role player on a team that gets probably some of the most highlights as a role player for a team just because he jumps high and can dunk a ball on somebody. So like I think that's a pretty good example of what you're saying. But I think we should say hi to the voice of the people, Rob Lange at Philly_Madness. What's up, Rob? How are you enjoying the game right now?
I mean, enjoy want to be the word I jump to. I'm not going to jump to conclusions, but one of my big and listen, I jumped in late, so I'm just kind of seeing the back end of your conversation. But to say that Joel Embiid's not a franchise player, I'm assuming that's what was being discussed. I think it's a little ridiculous. Now, with that said, I have major frustrations with Joel Embiid, as I have for the last couple of years. And it's, and Jason could speak to this better than me, obviously. So, but sometimes his lethargy on the court just seems like why he's not just trying to get down on the block and go at Precious Achiuwa. I don't understand. And I don't know if it's game plan, whatever, but it's like tonight just seems like he's just going through the motion. Ben Simmons kind of doing the same things. Like, what's he have? 5 turnovers, a couple shots. I mean, it's frustrating when these two young guys, right? Everybody ran Brett Brown out of here, and I get it. It was time, but these guys have got to take this next step. And in a night like tonight where, you're down some guys, but Miami's down everybody, you cannot come out with a piss-poor effort, in my opinion. And look, there's a whole half of basketball, and you may see the difference between Brett and Doc right now. Doc might have gotten their ass, to a certain extent. I mean, it's a little different in the NBA locker room. But I'm hoping that when you see this team come out in the second half, you see a little more fire, a little more, hey, let's go out there, let's get the job done. And don't get me wrong, Miami shoot above 50%, which doesn't help matters. But I mean, they got shooters out there. I mean, you got Robinson can shoot.
I think. Sorry, Jay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I think something that's important to talk about as well is that, like, and I think something that may be the case here is that the team is very short on legitimate like lineup guys that are normally playing in this game, where they don't have scorers that are typically out there like Seth Curry, like Tobias Harris, like Shake Milton, who are usually some guys that are up there and scoring for the team. So part of me thinks that that their game plan right now is to let Joel and Ben slow down a little bit in the beginning of the game so that they have that energy to play in the second half at a higher level. Because you saw even yesterday, Joel looked tired as hell at the end of the game yesterday. And mind you, that's a little different because now he has Ben Simmons back with him. But I do think that has something to do with the slowed amount, the low amount of shots that Joel was taking in the beginning of this game. Although obviously it does not help that Ben is turning the ball over as much as he has been. But I just purely based on scoring, I like with Joel, I think that's a big reason why. I do want to point out as well, because something we talked about yesterday. Look at Yams coming in here with another name.
Every single show he has a new name. Every single show. Jason, what's your thoughts on Ben Simmons having one of the lower usage rates of his career this year? The Sixers the pace has been down as of late. The ball seems to be going through Tobias Harris when he's playing, or Joel Embiid. Does that impact Ben in any capacity? Because, like Justin said, Ben seems to be checked out. He definitely, I don't know if it's an injury or a fake injury, or does he take that to heart because he knows exactly what I'm talking about? But what's your take on that?
I think teams have a game plan for how they defend Ben Simmons now at this point. And I think he has to solve that. I think he bristles at, he feels undervalued, underappreciated for all of the good things that he does. We all argue about it.
Is he working on the pick and roll game? Like we only see
why I don't understand why anyone thinks Ben Simmons should be a pick and roll player. He can't shoot.
Right, but that you're
well,
talking
about why run a pick and roll with a guy that can't shoot?
You're talking about a Doc Rivers system that runs a pick and roll offense. So are we going to just throw him in the corner? Is that the plan? Like, what are they going to do with Ben?
You don't run a pick and roll with a guy that can't shoot. It's a fundamental part of the play. You have to have, like, if they do this, then you do that, right? Then like, if you have a point guard who can't shoot, you can't run a pick and roll.
Part of the disheartening part of that is Joel Embiid, though. Like, there is a part that I would like to see Joel Embiid thrive in a pick and roll.
Yeah, but he's a pick and pop guy because he's not a great roll man. He's not a great screen setter. So you got two guys that aren't elite at that skill set. And I know it's a pick and roll league.
Very low on that, though. The data is very low.
It's not, though. You can just look at what they do well. And Joel doesn't set great screens and dive to the basket. He's a huge player. He's not Clint Capella at 6'9". He's not DeAndre Jordan at 6'9", right? 6'10". He's a huge player. He doesn't get moving that well where he can just set a crisp screen and either pop or roll. Those pick and roll, really good pick and roll guys are high flying, smallish centers.
Dwight Howard is a terrific roller to the basket.
But Dwight Howard
can't do what Dwight Howard does.
He's 6'9". Dwight Howard is a much smaller player. He's got wide shoulders. He's very strong. But it's. I think we're asking guys to do things that they're just not built to do.
Well,
right?
they need to work on it. They need to practice these things.
That's you can yell at a wrench for not being a hammer if you want. It's right.
But the future of the NBA is a pick and roll league. It's
okay. Then make your personnel decisions based on that. So what these guys are, what they're elite at, and there's plenty of things they're elite at, but that's not one of them. It's never going to be one of them. It's just, to me, it feels like we're just having the wrong conversation with pick and roll. Let me bring up the shot chart real quick.
So
first half, did that work?
I mean, it's a big reason why they struggle to score in the half court when the playoffs start. It's a big part of that.
It is, but you just
Danny Green hits another three, Sixers down 8. Let's go.
Good. I don't know how much like
Joe showed us that you're a good player. You should be able to adjust to any system.
That is not how sports work. That's not how sports work.
I wish everyone had a LeBron James.
That's not how sports work, guys. I'm sorry. The best offensive lineman in football fundamentally changes the outcome of a football team's trajectory. And yet, you don't turn him into your quarterback. It's not how sports work. It's like, come on. your best hockey player automatically become goalie because that's the most important position?
So what's your take, Jason? Like, do you think that they should just I mean, the Sixers are they run one of the fewest pick and rolls in the NBA already. They're not a high pick and roll team to begin with. But you don't think that they should work on Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid in a pick and roll as the season progresses to get ready for the playoffs? Or do you think they should just abandon it and try to figure out something else?
No, I just don't think we should.
You're not going to like what you see in the next 2 seconds.
Joel Embiid right now, twice he's given up offensive rebounds for not boxing out. 2 times in a row down the floor, he stood there as Kelly Olynyk is going over.
Rob, it gets worse.
Danny Green's hitting threes tonight, though. If there's
it gets worse.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Tell me when you see it.
Yeah, the Ben Simmons foul on Duncan Robinson and one.
Let's talk about a 4-point play right there.
So where are you at, Jason? Do you think the Sixers should keep working on Ben Simmons in the pick and roll or just figure something else out?
I just think you have to – no, I think you have to look at this team and you have to – like I said earlier, it is a machine with a lot of specific parts. And when all those parts are there and all those parts are working, they do complement each other. But a well-oiled machine, when you start taking parts out of it, can look really bad. And I think you're at that point where it's not. You're just not. You don't have these 3-level scorers that can just take over games and beat you anyway.
Well, the problem is you see a guy like Ben Simmons who could get his shot at the rim whenever he wants, and that could translate in a pick and roll if he wanted it to.
No. That's not how pick and roll works.
You don't think that Ben Simmons can't just figure out some sort of floater or runner in 12 feet? That's not possible.
I have no
this is something that we've talked about a few times.
You should expect that.
Something I want to say real quick.
Everything else is just faith and hope.
Jay, real quick.
That's a big problem. That's a big problem. If he doesn't have that touch, then that's
real quick. Something that I've talked about a few times with Ben Simmons, and is that he's a guy who's a bigger player, who is a strong guy, who you've noticed doesn't have the best touch around the rim. He's gotten better with it, but at times it's not very good. So to me, it would not surprise me at all if he's not a guy that isn't going to eventually have what Tyrese Maxey came in the league with, and have a floater that's capable of being from 10, 15 feet away. I think the best comparison you can give it to is to a guy like LeBron. LeBron, you don't see having this floater. You've seen his post game get better. You've seen his mid-range game get better in that case, and then you've seen his 3-point shot get better. But you don't see him having all this crazy touch going up around the rim like a guy like Maxey or Steph Curry has.
Yeah, but LeBron can jump over and through people.
And you're not, and listen, that's the big difference between that's one of the biggest differences between the two. And I agree with you on that, but I'm just purely based on him, Ben Simmons, and whether or not he's going to grow that floater game. That's just purely what I'm trying to talk about here.
The floater is really hard. Have you guys tried to learn a floater?
Brandon Clark.
Yes, I have.
You're telling me Brandon Clark can do a floater and Ben Simmons can't?
Yeah, but if the floater's not part of your game, who says that Brandon Clark hasn't always done it? A floater takes precision to the nth degree, and let's face it, Ben's not going to do that. I mean, he's just not. Listen, you either have to accept Ben Simmons, and I'm not saying that he'll never shoot jumpers, but I am saying you at some point have to say to yourself, Ben Simmons can do many things on a basketball court that others can't, but he's never going to be known as a prolific shooter, scorer. I mean, I don't, and I'm not sure if I can even say that yet, but my point is, I think with Ben, as always, we all harp on the wrong things and miss what he can do on the floor.
No, and I'm one of the biggest Ben Simmons fans. Everyone knows that here, that I'm one of his biggest fans. But I'm saying that we're going to just close the door on this. And I don't think I can do that right now.
Marky, I love you, buddy, because you're in all the time. But to say that everyone could do a floater that's played ball since a kid is just inaccurate.
We have seen we have seen Ben Simmons have some sort of like baby hook runner. We've seen it before. It's very sporadic, but is his touch that bad, Jason? Like, do you think he just can't do it? Like, what is your take?
What level of accuracy and field goal percentage are you willing to tolerate on floaters?
Well, all we see is Ben Simmons practice the corner three, and we've said this ad nauseum. Like, we should see him get to the rim more and penetrate into the paint and get to the free throw line. Like, is he practicing the wrong thing? That's kind of where this conversation started.
Well, I think he can help the team if he can consistently knock down a corner three. I watched this guy shoot free throws and struggle to keep his elbow in on free throws. And there's just a floater is it is a very specific combination of skills. It is a drive, a gather, a rise, and a very touch with your wrist out finish, feather touch to be any good at it, to the point where you'd ever qualify to get that shot in a game. And to say you just learn it because you're an elite athlete who made it to the NBA, it's just, if that was the case, trust me, there'd be
Isaiah Joe
that use it.
Bang, Isaiah Joe.
There's very few players who use the floater consistently in their arsenal, and there's a reason for that, because it's really, really tough.
I think also there's a reason.
If you use it at the Y, if you use it at the playground, that's great. But usually that's a shot that other teams will give up.
Yeah, let's go, Joel. Let's go, baby.
You know what? He finally woke up. You know, he woke up.
He's had a nice several sequences here in the third quarter. Well,
it's been all him. I mean, this run has been him because, yeah, obviously he's scoring on the offensive end, but on the defensive end, he's made 3 or 4, plays that change the dynamic. And man, it must be a hell of a gift to be able to turn it on and off like that. You know what I mean? Like he could have looked more unenthused not too long ago, and he has literally taken over this game.
Okay, Shaquille O'Neal.
Real quick, I wanted to say something. I wanted to say something about the floater we were just talking about. And about how Jason was saying you don't see a lot of guys use it like frequently in the league. And if I'm honest with you, if you look at people coming into the league, the only people you really see that use it like consistently are guards. And there's a reason for that. And it's because of the slightness of them. It's because of the feathery touch they're able to put on the shot. Guys like Trae Young, guys like Steph Curry, who are probably the 2 guys who use it most frequently out of anybody, in my opinion. But
he's escaping my mind, but really good guard in Utah who used to play for Memphis. He's
Mike Conley. Yeah,
Mike Conley is the floater king, right?
Yeah.
You're exactly right. It's called the giant killer for a reason, because it's the shot you take against an elite rim protector.
Yo, real quick, Joel Embiid just hit a very on Chris Silva. He's at the free throw line, just throws up his arms basically to draw the foul, and just hits it off the glass real quick. Oh man, that was nice. I'm sorry.
So it's called the giant killer because it's a shot where they've denied the 3, you've driven into the paint, but you're against an elite rim protector. So those are the conditions where the floater makes sense, right? And
Yeah.
I mean, if you've played this game a ton and you have to go against really annoying guards defending you and big men down low, that's when you want to have the giant killer in your arsenal. But if you don't have it, if you can't make it, you shouldn't use it.
No, and really, when it comes to Ben Simmons, I'd rather him practice the mid range jump shot rather than get the floater going because Ben, like you just said, the floater's the giant killer. Well, Ben's giant enough to go at a guy. He doesn't have to float it. Yeah. So I don't need Ben to have a floater. If anything, I'd like Ben to get that little 11-foot jump shot at some point, but it's not the end of time that he doesn't have it.
I mean, I don't like that shot because you're not going to get fouled on that shot, and unless you're hitting it 55%, it's not worth taking. So, again, this is just like me watching him a ton and not having faith that he's got all of the parts and the mechanics to make that work. It's like the high strikeout guy. What was the guy? Was it Franco for the Phillies? He struck out a ton.
Guys, real quick. I think we need to acknowledge the Sixers watch party real quick and look at the fact that Embiid is 11 for 15 right now and is carrying the Sixers in this game. Sixers are up 84-81 on a 19-3 run in the last 3.5 minutes, and Joel Embiid is just carrying this team. Whether he's getting fouled, whether he's shooting the mid-range shot, he is looking great. So
20 points in the third quarter for Joel Embiid. 20 points in the third quarter.
Chris, you being 30 seconds behind us, I'm trying to not talk about it.
I'm with Chris. I'm behind. I'm only like 5 seconds ahead of Dive.
Yeah, I'm trying. I appreciate everyone watching and commenting. Sorry about that. I'm trying to talk about other stuff. So
you're great conversation.
Yeah, as soon as we had comments about Embiid not being a franchise player, I sent a quick text while he was on the bench, told him to get his shit together, and defended him in here. And he scored 20 points since then. So
no, but this is something that I talked about. But
who was that by the
earlier?
Way? Can we?
I was Stephen Green, I believe.
Was it? That's great.
I'm pretty sure. This is something that I had mentioned before, but like, it's not surprising me right now that he is playing better and that he's like that he's really awakening right now, because this is something that doesn't surprise me. Like, they're short on players, they're short on their scoring for this roster. So in the beginning of the game, they're letting Ben Simmons and the shooters on the outside try to get this going. And at the end of the game, they're slowing it down a little bit, getting in the paint when the Heat are a little tired and Joe can get a little bit easier buckets. So it makes sense. To me, at least.
That's a bad word.
But it's also the Heat, the way they're playing, right? The Heat are undermanned. They saw what the Sixers were trying to do as far as hitting those threes. They spread out a little bit probably, and there's a corner three, right? So
yep,
it's a lot of it is how the defense is adapting at half. The Sixers adapted to how the Heat are playing them. It's a lot of this stuff is like vicious cycles and virtuous cycles.
By the way, Danny freaking Green, man.
What?
Danny Green came out and said he had a 37 offensive rating last night. 0 for 7 from 3. He's 7 from 3 in this game so far. Danny Green, come out tonight. Danny freaking Green, let's go.
Oh, I'm not talking about Danny Green. I'm talking about the Joe man over here. I do want
to comment on Danny
28 foot.
Because I missed quite a bit. I really didn't see last night's game. Many different reasons. But, what's funny to me is how quick, I don't know what people expected when Danny Green came here. Did they expect Danny Green to be this end-all, be-all type player for the Sixers? I mean, what you get with Danny Green is what you get. And you're going to get a game like tonight. but then he's gonna have a game where he's not that good. Like, people were like ready to just take him out back last night. It was ridiculous. Like,
Ooh, hold on real quick. I like this nickname.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe.
I like that.
It's
I
good.
mean, I grew up with G.I. Joe. It's good.
We got Mad Max, G.I. Joe.
Actually, Chris Coyle nailed this 50% from Danny Green. Well done, man. Well done. I was a game too short. I picked Danny Green to be my player of the game last night. Ooh, that was a train wreck.
Yeah, sorry for the interruption, Rob. You go ahead.
No. I guess it's just like it just gets so frustrating. Like, I don't know what people expected Danny Green to be, but it was like after last night, you might have thought that Danny Green purposely tried to lose the game last night if you didn't watch and then you went on Twitter. Like, it was. I know that's my mistake. I shouldn't have gone on Twitter, but it was unbelievable. And, it's like just let Danny be who Danny is. You're gonna have good games. You're gonna have not so good games. And move on. Stop with he's got to go. Like, just chill out.
I agree, 100%. I've said that 1,000 times tonight.
We have you watch the difference between Tom Brady when he's successfully pressured up the middle as a quarterback versus when he's got time in the pocket. Completely different player. And I don't think people apply that to basketball when you look at these outlet shooters. It's like they're so dependent on other things that are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like we talked about at the beginning, if it's in rhythm, if it's in his shooting pocket from the spots that he's dangerous, he's going to have a good night. And if he's being asked to put the ball on the floor and drive to the basket like last night, all kinds of other shit is going wrong.
Hey, watch your
Well,
mouth.
I picked Danny Green to be my player of the game last night, not because of putting the ball on the floor and getting to the basket. How many times have you missed this guy miss wide open three after wide open?
Wide open three when it's a pass off target. It's just
that plays a role. It does. Listen,
I'm stunned that JB gets the ball on his right hip and brings it up on his left. That's crazy.
That's where I prefer it. And when I play, hold on, when I play basketball, I will always ask my shooters where they want the ball because I can pass the ball. So I will ask them where they want it. Now, if I'm playing with complete hacks, it doesn't matter. But if I'm playing with shooters, I want to know where they want it. Which hip do they want it? Do they want it? Do they want it off the bounce or not? Knowing where a guy wants the ball is like so important to making them successful. That's a point guard's job.
We need a TPL tournament of some sort. That would be so fun. That'd be
okay. I'm gonna be honest. How does Tom Brady get brought up in the chat?
That's my man.
What do we got going
I
on?
don't know because
my man Brian.
When you pressure Tom Brady, when you pressure him, he becomes a completely different player. And when you ask him to do things that he's not capable of doing, which is step into a throw and hit a guy in stride, just like Joe Montana, he just is a different player. And the Danny Greens, that tier of player, the Mike Scotts, the Danny Greens, all of those guys who don't create their own shot, they need the conditions to be right for them to be successful. So when you're asking those guys to elevate their game up to the next tier to carry you, you're in trouble. You're just in trouble.
Right. And I didn't expect him to take over offensively. I asked him to just make some 3-pointers because we knew that Joel was going to get double teamed immediately every single possession.
There's a tier of 3-point shooters that just can flat out just hit it from anywhere. Like Klay Thompson, it doesn't matter how you get him the ball, he'll get the ball up. He's got instant release time. It's just Steph is the same way. It doesn't matter where he starts with the ball. He always finishes with the gooseneck. It's always perfect release. Most players aren't that way. But then when you watch him in warm-ups, under perfect conditions, they're hitting 18 out of 20 consistently.
What a
Mike
quarter,
Scott,
what a quarter by the Sixers right now, by the way. This is the most points.
And Mike's got 3, by the way.
Yeah.
Look at it.
See, real
Exactly
quick-
what I said. It hit him right in the right hip where he wanted it.
I
It
wanted
was
to
perfect in rhythm.
Yeah, because Jason, you're right, and unless you're a Steph Curry, it's all rhythm for you. So it matters where the ball's passed to you, and if you're playing with guys, Danny Green, who don't really know you yet, it's going to take some time. But when you start getting those passes there, you start seeing nights like that. I mean, look, Mike Scott couldn't hit the broadside of a barn last year, right? So I don't know, what was worked on, but when the ball hits him,
Oh my God, Dwight!
you almost know when he's about to hit a three.
Yeah. You know when it's going in. You coach, right, Rob?
Yeah.
You coach basketball. You know all this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not dropping any secret NBA knowledge. This is fundamental, like, sports, basic stuff. You coach this stuff. And it's this is why you have centers in hockey. This is why you have point guards in basketball. This is why you have quarterbacks in football, right?
Yeah.
They set everything else up.
In our practices, my cousin who coaches with us, who is kind of like the shooting guru, literally when they're doing
Austin? Is his name Austin?
It's definitely not Austin. No. I don't know who that guy is. But his line as the shooting drill is going on is hit him in the pocket. Hit him in the pocket.
There you go.
You got to hit, especially the younger kids. They need to have the ball in a specific spot to set their entire motion up.
Yep.
All right, guys, I have a trivia question for you. The third quarter has come to an end. The Sixers lead 96-95. The Sixers have put up 41 points in the third quarter. My Sixers trivia question for you, for everyone here in the comment section, let me know in the comment section. Text or message your reply. What was the second most third quarter points this season? If you get it right, you get 1,000 TPL points. How many points was the second most points scored in the third quarter for the Sixers this season?
And listen, if you don't already know, TPO points are very, very valuable. You can cash them. You can cash them in the donation box or wherever that is on YouTube if you want. They're very valuable. So,
Wait. Hold on. We're getting crazy numbers here. I said third quarter points. The Sixers just scored 41 third quarter points. What was the second most?
Let's give Andre Iguodala some respect, because he was, to me, what stood out to me about his Sixers career was he was really good at turning the game around in the third quarter, creating turnovers and transition buckets. He was that was a pretty good third quarter team, early stage Iguodala.
Yeah, man, totally. I'll never forget Iguodala standing on the scoreboard that right after he hit the free throws against the Chicago Bulls in the playoffs, with Evan Turner jumping on him and going and hugging him, and that was just epic.
I can't forget that because I don't remember it.
Yeah, it's all good, man.
I remember my buddy who's very good at scouting. Like, he doesn't need a lot of time to be able to see a player from a non-player. He loved Evan Turner, and I was like, are you crazy? So what are you talking about? That guy is going to disappoint everyone.
You said that? Or your
Oh,
friend?
yeah.
I know. I was the biggest Evan Turner fan.
No, we
my biggest blunders.
Yeah, we laugh all the time because he loves his favorite player was Rip Hamilton, right? He loves
from Coachville. Terrific.
I bought him in the middle of last summer a Rip Hamilton cameo.
Dude, Rip Hamilton's one of the most underrated players. Like Michael Redd, terrific player.
Yeah, that's his guy. And I hate that mid-tier of player. I mean, for years, I was like, no, give me point guards and give me centers and I'll go to work.
Quick. What?
Hold on. What the hell is this comment?
No, let's not go there. What is the second most points scored in the third quarter by the Sixers? Right now, we have 28 by Marky215, Chris Dunn 38, Marquise Graham says 37. Anybody else want to guess? I'll give you a couple more minutes to figure it out. The Sixers scored 41 points in the third quarter, their most points in the third quarter this season. What's the second most? 49 is not right because that's more that they scored tonight. I'm looking for it's a little bit less. Diverse says 38. I'll just say it now. It is actually the second most is 34 points. They outscored it by 7 points, and that game was against their second matchup against the Washington Wizards. There it is.
Joe just got called for a foul. Where he got
Joe, by the way.
Wow.
Joel has had some like really crazy stretches where it seems like he just flips a switch and just dominates the entire game.
I got to question that foul call there from the standpoint of how they've been calling this game.
I don't understand that one at all.
I mean, come on.
He just blew him up.
Yeah.
He was squared up on him. Now, were his feet moving? I don't know, but it was his chest.
Rookie whistle.
But I just feel like when that shoulder drops like that, and a guy's squared up, I don't know how you call it. The defender has every right to that space too. Like it's just such an inconsistent.
To me, that's either a no call or an offensive foul. Like you can't blast the dude dead in his chest and expect a whistle.
Yeah. I hope Joel has enough of a breather because Ben Simmons is really not. Watch, he's probably gonna do something now because I'm 30 seconds behind. But
he's in the bunker spot, so.
No, don't worry. Nothing. You're not missing anything. You're good.
And I'm a Ben. Listen, I will support Ben for a long, long time, but I'm just not very happy with his game tonight.
Dude, the amount of balls that Dwight Howard is touching and then dropping is kind of pissing me off.
I mean, look, Dwight is a Hall of Famer with bad hands.
Yeah, and I know that, but it's just it's very angersome over here. I'm not gonna lie.
You didn't really watch the Nerlens Noel years, I can tell.
No, I did not. Listen, I told you.
I've never seen a guy with such quick hands on defense and such bad hands on offense as Nerlens Noel.
Dude, that guy. Well, the first thing I think of when it comes to Nerlens Noel is just getting steals in the paint. I've never seen a big get steals in the paint and strip guys like I've seen Nerlens Noel do. That was like so fun to watch.
Yep.
It was crazy. I've never seen a big do that. Just have the instincts to strip people, bigs, guards, you name it.
So why wasn't that a foul? I mean, Dwight just got pushed in the back on that offensive rebound and put back. That should have been a foul.
Because Dwight Howard's big as hell, and they don't.
The contact on bigs is completely different than the contact on guards. Like what's played. So you're legislating bigs out of the game of basketball.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is it's so like they don't. Yeah, like you. I mean, you said it perfectly. They don't call that shit. It's annoying.
FYI, guys, we're going to be doing a post-game show right when the clock hits 0. Please be sure to hit that like button. Please be sure to turn on your notifications. Please be sure to subscribe. We're also on Twitter at The Painted Lines. Check us out at thepaintedlines.com. Please go ahead and follow us, everyone here. My man Justin at J_Persichetti. He's like the official co-host of TPL Live. Follow my man Rob, the voice of the people. He is at Philly_Madness. He also does the Madness podcast every Thursday night. Amazing stuff. And then our beat writer for the Sixers, that is my man JB. Follow him on Twitter at JBlevinsNBA. Thank you everyone here for watching, for commenting. We have some of the best people ever that is part of our regular audience that really show up every single game. And just thank you. That's it.
Yeah.
Well said.
So can I ask you guys a question about Danny Green? And obviously, like Danny Green's having a good game. I just wonder because this is something that like when I first started watching basketball and when I first watched Danny Green shoot a basketball, like, what do you guys think of his jump shot in general?
It's not great. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, because like his jump shot is one of those things that I just think is like ugly as hell, and
Yeah,
like
but he's practiced it so much that in the right conditions,
yeah,
he's capable.
I mean, that's been his jump shot since he donned the Carolina blue. You know what I mean? That's not. Yeah. I mean, he has shot very similarly since college, probably high school. But you know what it is with him.
He's making me eat my words because he just hit 2 threes.
Yeah, but let me tell you why it worked. Watch.
Where was this guy? Like,
Dives, you played college baseball.
Yeah.
You ever go 1 for 5, 0 for 4?
Never. No, I'm just kidding.
Never. Come on. But you played fine. You just like
no.
You hit it 2 guys. You hit it straight at guys, or like it's not like
Danny freaking Green.
I
Let's
just
go.
don't think Danny Green is the type of player where you say he had a bad game, he had a good game. He's one of those guys that just is what he is.
I'm your definition of a baseball player that maxed out his like capability. Go ahead, Ryan. Rob.
I'm sorry. Good. No, I want to hear your baseball story. I love
my story. My story is like I'm your definition of like I maxed out my baseball potential, and I did really well in high school. I did really well. I never lost a game, and I played
as a pitcher.
As a pitcher.
Okay.
I hit really well. I was like under a 500 hitter too.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hit Temple, like it was just a different atmosphere. But I was more of a learner. I was not a ball player. I was burnt out. I'm your like prototypical baseball. Coach's son. I grew up with my dad being our coach, my entire life, and I was just burnt out. And I got to Temple. I could have played for D2 schools if I wanted to on a scholarship. I decided not to because it was never really my passion. I think I was playing for my dad more than for myself. That's going deep here. But
hey, we're in there. Yeah.
Long story short, I never had a bad game in my life.
Damn.
That's great.
I'm 100% being sarcastic.
I just feel like you, as a pitcher, you probably had plenty of games where they just hit it where they weren't, and it wasn't that those are bad pitches.
I'll tell you this. I'm going to interrupt you. Is I never lost a game in high school, and I take it back. I lost one game. And I take it all back. I lost one.
Liar.
Oh, you just ruined everything.
I ruined the entire story. But this is true. This is 100% true. Is that it was what, like 1999 we're talking about? And I remember because I pitched a full game against Solanco. I don't know if Lancaster people know where that is. And it was the 7th inning, and I failed to cover first base on a ground ball to second base. I missed the tag on first base. That run eventually scored, and that was my only loss.
So basically, what you're saying
that's bad play. But missing and making jump shots for Danny Green to me doesn't define a good game from a bad game.
Woo! Yo, hold on. Tyrese Maxey hitting jump shots in late game fashion.
I did want to comment one thing. Like I agree. If you look at Danny Green's jump shot as a whole, yeah, I think, it's not the prettiest looking shot. But when he releases the ball, when you watch his wrist flick,
right,
that's why I'm telling you, that is the flick, the follow through, everything about it. And that's something that he had to build with repetition. And that's why, he's had such a successful career as that knockdown shooter when, in the right setting.
Dunder Dude, we will be doing Flyers live stream starting tomorrow.
I think he's asking, are we doing Sixers and Flyers?
Yes.
We can do both. We can do 2 streams.
Yeah.
I would love to do a Flyer stream because I hate talking or writing about hockey, but I love watching and talking about it in the moment because I just don't like who reads a hockey story? What are you going to read about? Like, okay, let's use the Danny Green make or miss good game, bad game. In hockey, if your best player doesn't score a goal, did he have a bad game? Like a lot of these guys can have they are who they are. They create stress on an opposing team. They don't always score. You can just, I don't know. Like,
I want to.
Something we need to talk about real quick.
Wait, I want to give Chris Dunn the shout out. Chris Dunn, that would be Brendan Fraser and Mel is it Al Brooks in The Scout? That was the movie The Scout. Brendan Fraser was this no-name arm from like Guatemala. He comes in, pitches game 1 of the World Series for the Yankees. 27 up, 27 down, 81 pitches, all them strikes, and he hit a home run.
Unpopular take. My least favorite actor of all time.
Brendan Fraser?
I cannot stand looking at him.
I agree. I don't think he's very talented.
So real quick, 2 things we need to talk about at the Sixers right now. 1, this game is completely turned around and the Sixers are now up 110-98. 2, Dwight Howard is now 13th in blocks all time.
Congrats.
3, Danny Green has a career high in 3-pointers made with 9. So as much shit as we talk about on Danny Green at points, he just made his career high tonight in threes.
I challenge you all to go back through every one of his threes last night and this night and watch where did he catch him in the pocket? Was he given a good pass? Was he able to shoot it in rhythm? Was there desperation? Was it a heave at the end of the clock? Where was the shot clock? And I think you'll find something much more compelling than 0 for 7 or 9 for whatever he is.
And you also saw one of the other elements of Danny Green that adds to this team, right? Look, the Sixers are depleted, and a leader stepped up. He stepped up. He got shots where he needed to be, and he did what he needed to do to knock him down here tonight. I want to thank whoever the fan was who yelled at him last night and fired him. He responded, "I got 3 rings, bro," which was ultimate comeback line.
First of all, how dare you?
That's how it works. That's how it works on defense. That's not how it works on making shots.
How dare you, Jason, talk shit on Brendan Fraser? Have you not seen?
He's my least favorite actor of all time.
Have you not seen Doom Patrol?
Oh my god!
I definitely have not.
It's amazing.
No. I dismissed that movie out of hand based on the title.
Yeah, listen, I can't call any movie that Brendan Fraser was in
The Mummy's amazing.
The Mummy's good.
Brendan Fraser, it's fine.
It's good? What are you talking about?
The Mummy's good. I don't think The Mummy's The Mummies are nice action movies. I enjoy it.
That's exactly why that attitude has lost every single time in every single movie draft.
All right, listen. We're not talking about movie drafts right now, people. We're talking about the Sixers. We're not talking about
Mario Stone was not Brendan Fraser.
Oh my god. Nobody cares about Brendan Fraser. When's the last time he was in a good movie?
Guys, I did like School Ties.
I will agree. Dives, I will agree with you. I enjoyed the Mummy movies as well. But
Doom Patrol. If you haven't seen Doom Patrol, go watch it. One of the best.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you. I like movies. And I have never heard of that movie.
I'm gonna put you
on a movie.
The hell is Doom Patrol?
Okay, for the 41 people that are watching this right now are seeing the anger of a bunch of old dudes talking about an actor.
Whoa. There's no reason for ageism here. We don't ageism here. All right.
Oh, I love it.
I got energy left.
I'll be right back. My God.
Do you guys ever see that commercial with PointsBet where you have a guy at like a sports bar stepping over Allen Iverson? Or no, Allen Iverson stepping over. It's every single time I see that commercial, I get like super jealous. That like I wish I could have Allen Iverson step over me. That'd be
wait. Doom Patrol is a show that's on right now.
What?
What is this Doom Patrol? Explain this.
Doom Patrol is like a comic book TV show. I think it's on its second season, but it's really well done. It's got a ton of character development. I don't remember what exactly stream it's on, service it's on, but it's incredible. If you haven't seen Doom Patrol, what is Dome Control? I'm telling you guys, it's really, really good. Really good. And Brendan Fraser's he does the voice work of a character in that show, and man, so good.
I had a really awkward. I've got a couple of AI stories. The most awkward one was the media bathroom. He was double fisting some sort of brown liquid.
Okay, that put a very different image in my mind. The start of that conversation was the start of that sentence.
It's
the media
rough.
bathroom.
It's rough.
Double fisting.
Yeah, it was tough. We're at the urinals next to each other.
I totally understand what Jason says when double fisting. Do young people not say that?
Okay, well, see, you
That's
say
a drink
that.
in each hand. He's got a drink in each hand.
Yes, yeah, okay, yes, but like I agree with you, but there are more interesting connotations that
I'm
you.
not sure. I hear where you're going.
Oh, there is. What the hell's the matter with you?
God, get your head out of the gutter, Justin.
You even go Justin.
God, you're sick, Justin. You're sick.
You're like 15. You still need a parent to get into the rated R movie.
He just ran away. He's running back. I can see him in the mirror. No judgment. No judgment, Justin.
Yo, I'm dying.
Oh, no, I'm judging the hell out of you right now.
Rob, listen, I don't want to hear it.
I just want to know what the hell you put on after the Sixers. Jeez.
So,
yeah, dude, you want to invite me to the party in Mexico because I'm not going.
Yeah, we're getting into the 4-minute time where we should probably actually. I know everyone else is paying attention the whole time. I'm barely paying attention to the game.
I don't like where that sits though. Where I'm at, they're only up 7.
So look, their teams fluctuate. They make runs.
Yeah.
Stars matter in the last 4 minutes. They matter in the first 6 minutes of the third quarter. This is where you expect Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid to take you home. That's what you expect. So now that we're in that sort of 4-minute range, this is where you watch for your stars. This is where you judge them. Don't judge them in the middle sort of lag period. This is where you can judge a Joel Embiid and a Ben Simmons.
I'm going to go back to Jason's comment about we're going to learn about what Duncan Robinson and Hero really are when you don't have Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and those guys. Those two have 44 points in 66 minutes tonight, so they're playing really well.
Mm-hmm.
No, listen, give the Heat credit. I mean, these young guys came in here and they played hard. They played gritty, just like an Eric Spoelstra coach team does. And they hit some shots. You know what I mean? They hit some shots. But, Jason's right. What do the Stars do here as we get near the end of this game? Can they just solidify this win?
Yeah, but the Heat should feel good about, their secondary guys. With a green light, do they pass the test? And so far tonight they have.
So
I will say something you noticed is that the Sixers at one point were up 110-98, and the score is now 112-107. So they definitely slowed down offensively for a while there. So it's that is a bit worrisome, but you got to hope that they can bring themselves back into it. And Tyrese Maxey, like Steven said, is back in guarding Tyler Hero right now at the end of the game. So I also think that's a little interesting. I'm a little surprised about that.
I'm just disappointed that Tobias Harris is not in this game because I would love to see this lineup with Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
Well, Tobias Harris benefits from the spacing that Seth Curry and Joel Embiid create.
Well said. Is Tyrese Maxey going to have the ball in his hands when during these crucial moments here in the fourth quarter? That's going to be something I'm watching for.
Yep.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be – I mean, unless they decide to go a little bit of pick and roll, but I think it's going to be mostly Joel in the paint passing out.
Yep. So if you say that, then where does Ben stand on the floor?
Man, hit that, Danny. What'd you say, Jason?
So if you're feeding the post with Embiid, where is Ben Simmons standing on the floor?
Rob, don't do me like that.
That's the big question, right?
I'm with you, Coyle.
I'm blaming Justin.
We're not putting that on screen.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
We're not going with this narrative, as people say.
That you created?
Yeah, you walked into that one.
I'm gonna be
created an entire persona for yourself, and that's only gonna continue now. Starting now.
Oh man.
We have Tiago the handsome one, and now we have Justin the pervert.
No, let's not do that.
Let's put that to bed.
Because that's just not true.
That's third quarter talk. We're coming down to the wire here. Crunch time.
Right, all done.
Steven says, I want to see a 2-man game between Max and JoJo. At the end of the game, I can assume.
Yeah, so
hold up.
Damn, there's actually things happening. I'm just looking at the Delaware River.
Where? Hold on. They got to review that shit. What the hell is that call?
I don't think
What the fuck? Okay, hold on.
They don't have a review left.
What? Unless I didn't see something, I didn't see any sort of contact. I didn't see shit.
Nope, didn't touch him.
I didn't see anything.
No, that last angle, there's no contact.
Dude, what is that call? He fouled out with that call, by the way. Let's remember that right now. He just fouled out of the game with that call.
So
that is utter bullshit right there.
Yeah, I mean the Joel and Tyrese Maxey 2-man game is going to have to be a thing.
Yep.
What is that call? That is awful. Like that's literally like that deserves that deserves being fucking like an NBA ref deserves to be fined for that. Because that can be a difference in a win and a loss right there.
You got 3 minutes to deal with it. You shouldn't allow it. You're still ahead. You just
Ben Simmons fouls out with 5 points, 6 turnovers, 6 fouls, and 12%.
And we're not going to sit here and act like he's playing amazing this game, but the fact that you have your best defender out of this game and he fouls out on some bullshit like that's messed up.
I'm going through Tyrese Maxey's hands to win this game. It's coming.
I'm going to tell you right now, sports radio in this town will be even more unlistenable than normal tomorrow.
I don't listen to sports radio.
No, but I just mean from the standpoint of the Ben Simmons haters are going to.
Yeah, but okay, so let's go into it. He's got 12 assists. How many of those assists were to Danny Green?
Quite a few.
Okay, well then.
Or Mike Scott.
He's creating points.
Speaking of that, I think oh damn it. Hold on.
Joel's just going to live at the line at this point. That's going to be their offense. So I think what you're going to see is a lot of clear out. That's what you've got here. A lot of clear out. And he's going to try to take a guy, force a double. Maxey is probably going to be the guy that's going to have to hit shots. But the fact that you've got Isaiah Joe in the game right now with 3 minutes left, you're creating outlets for Embiid, but you're clearly running through Embiid.
Real quick, I wanted to say based off what we were talking about with Tyrese with Simmons, this game, although he hasn't had the most amazing game, Tiago, one of our guys at the painted line, said for as poorly as Simmons has played tonight, these are the simple advantages of a 6'10" ball handler. Ben, I'm sorry, I don't see the same part of the game they're seeing. So
they're like 30 seconds behind.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I think this is a good representation of what Jay was talking about how like although Ben wasn't scoring tonight, and obviously we want him to be playing better, he was creating a lot of open looks for shooters on the outside, which is what's keeping us in this game right now.
Yep. Maxey hitting that 28-footer though is huge.
Oh,
That's a huge shot right now. I still think you're going to look at 4 or 5 more free throws out of Embiid coming down here down the stretch. His ability to not turn over is going to be huge.
Yo, Tyler Hero is legit. I'm sorry. Goddamn.
Yeah, he was due. He was 1 for 5 before that shot.
Damn.
So the turnover really is what kills you. You don't even get a shot attempt. You're in scramble mode, which leaves him open at the top of the key.
Oh, man.
Want to talk about James Harden?
James. I mean, listen, is that a legitimate conversation you want to have?
I mean, it's a timeout. So quickly, what I'll tell you is NBA players have told me just sitting around shooting the shit, he's the hardest person to guard in the league, period.
Yeah, I mean, would you argue because I feel like a lot of players will say James Harden, but then a lot of people will also say Kevin Durant.
When I have this conversation, that's who they bring up.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Tyrese Maxey, you look at his splits. He's 1 for 5 from 3 today. In January, 6 games. That makes him 9 for 24 from 3. So, Jason, what's that math? 9 of 24 from 3.
It's like 35%.
35%. So, there you go.
Yeah, and that's where you'd want a rookie. His legs are going to die on him. He's a rookie, right? So he will hit the wall. His shooting from 3 will go down. But over time, that tells you that you have a guy you can probably count on as a legitimate threat from 3.
That's a really tough shot to make in that situation for a rookie too. That's a big time shot.
Sixers, it is 115 to 115 with a minute 30 left in the game.
Yep.
We'll see what happens here.
Jason, do you envision the ball here to be run through Shake? Oh, that rimmed out too.
Shake. If Shake was in? I mean, what you're trying to create is a pressure point to feed Joel in the post. And I don't, they're going to work. This is an ISO.
All right, Tyrese Maxey, bring us home, baby. Bring us home, Tyrese.
You are behind.
Yeah. So that's my point with Danny Green is exactly that. When you make him pump fake in the corner and still shoot it, he's not going to hit those shots, right?
Damn. Isaiah Joe playing good defense, and it didn't turn out well. God.
Yeah, that was gross.
About a minute 5 left. Miami up 117-115 on the Sixers. Let's see what can happen here. Just being sloppy with the ball.
All right, 115 all.
Nope. Oh, geez.
Who is this Gabe guy? Oh, my God. Are you kidding?
Do you want to know the score?
I think the challenge with Embiid and turnovers is
come on, man.
There is a balance between creating stationary targets for him to throw to when he gets doubled or has to kick out.
You can't do that. You can't get that ball out, man.
So I think some of his turnovers are just being too predictable.
Yeah.
You want your off-ball guys to be moving to create passing lanes, but Joel's got to be better at anticipating where they're going to be and hitting them there. And when he's playing with guys he hasn't played with or practiced with, he's not practicing with Isaiah Joe. Like, it's just not a combination that's on the floor in practice. You're going to see that means Joe and those kind of guys have to be stationary targets, and that just makes it easier to defend for the other team. So where Seth Curry and he can develop cohesion, where Seth can move and he knows how he's going to move, he had that with JJ Redick. That opens up him to be able to hit people moving off ball. And that's one of the challenges you got. So I think Embiid's just got to force the ball through contact, get to the line. And the fact that he's taken no free throws in the last 4 minutes is a real problem here.
Well, you saw him take over during the Washington Wizards game in that fourth quarter. Just absolutely dominant. Like 17 of those points were either his buckets or assisted.
Yeah.
You look at this game, this screams like old Joel.
No, but watch again. It's not old Joel. It's look at the players on the floor when that last turnover happened. They were standing absolutely stationary. They were planted in their spots, which made them.
What the fuck are we doing? I'm sorry. I'm gonna mute myself.
Yeah. So again, you can't ask Danny Green to do things that Danny Green shouldn't be doing. You just can't do it.
What is that?
You can't. He's not a secondary ball handler. He's a
I know that, but that's my question. Like, what are we trying to do?
Yeah, Maxey should have just kept it. It should be a 2-man game between Maxey and Embiid. The other guys are simply outlets, and not doing it is a problem. This goes down as a bad luck.
He didn't have the ball in his hands.
It don't matter anymore.
Yeah, Maxey, that's just inexperience, not understanding what he's got with him. That's on Maxey, quite frankly.
We have to shoot the ball, guys. Got no timeouts. There you go.
Wow,
damn. All right.
They really collapsed here in these.
All right. Well, game's not over. Game is not over. Oh my God. Okay. Just kidding. Hold on. This is a lot going on. Oh my God.
What happened?
There's a lot going on right now. There's a lot.
It's chaos.
On. Chaos is not even the correct word for this. It's mayhem. Mayhem just happened in those last.
A lot of chaos.
Danny Green!
No, Danny Green sucks. But there's. I'm kidding. Danny Green does not suck. But there's a lot going on right now.
Is that 2 free throws?
They're saying he didn't foul, so I guess that's going to go to the.
I'm sorry. I gotta shut up. I'm just like, there's a lot going on.
They overturned the foul.
I don't know. We're at commercial though, guys. Right now, let's get some comments in here. Let's talk about this. Okay. So Isaiah Joe, for one, let's talk about Isaiah Joe real quick. Like, that's a shot right there. Like, I mean, mind you, it's down in the shot clock. He's going up with a please shot, but like, that's a big shot for a rookie.
Dude, you have Tyrese Maxey hitting a 3 with 3 minutes left. You have Isaiah Joe hitting a 3 with what? 22 seconds left? I mean,
what I liked about Joe pre-draft was how effortless his shot was, and that creates unlimited range. So I think he's got really high upside. He's just not physically ready to compete.
Real quick, no nog, no entry. We don't know why they didn't call a timeout earlier. We don't have a timeout right now. That is why they did not call a timeout. That was a foul that was called, I believe. So I don't know. I can't hear it, so I don't know what's exactly happening.
Look at and they're arguing this foul.
Reviewing that it's a foul or not? What's going on, guys? You're ahead of us.
So it's for one that we were just in commercial. I believe it was a foul because they're starting right now from out of bounds with Sixers ball. So
No, I don't think it is. According to people, what does Steve Nemurski really know about?
It's a non-shooting foul. Looks like they're inbounding.
Why is
7 seconds?
Justin just went running somewhere? I don't know what the hell's happening.
There we go.
He is 30 seconds ahead of us.
Embiid just dropped a 20-footer from the top of the key to tie the game with 3 seconds.
What? Yes, sir.
All right, now we can react. Yeah. Embiid dropped a deep bittering shot over Chris. My goodness. Embiid coming in clutch at the end of the game. Obviously, right now we've been talking about how Embiid was playing pretty sloppy going into it. But listen, this is the important thing right here. Watching the guy come at the end. Oh, wait, real quick. Who's the white guy with the white bald guy on our coaching staff?
It's not me, is it?
Oh, that's she came from Indiana, the Pacers.
Okay. Yeah, well, right now he's the one talking in the huddle. So yeah. I don't know if that's significant.
He's their defensive coordinator.
Right now he's the one he was one of the guys talking to Joel specifically in the in the I can't think of I want to call it a huddle, but it's not football.
It's a huddle, basically.
Okay. Dan Burke. So that's I don't know, because I know Jason, we've talked about that. We've talked about that with you before about talking about how significant coaches are in different situations. So I don't know how significant that is to you, but defensively, obviously he's known for.
Yep.
Man, sorry, I'm like.
Let's go to the comments. We have Chris Coyle saying, "Let's go." Steven saying, "Joe." Embiid, he's clutch from Marquise. Marquis 215 saying MVP. Chris Dunn says, "Holes 'em, baby." And then Marquis 215 says, in the face. Steve.
It's absolutely criminal if this game goes to overtime, by the way.
So
this is criminal.
He said refs suck.
This is criminal.
Free basketball. Is this happening? Are we getting
OT?
9 dudes against 8 dudes.
OT.
2 guys fouled out. Somehow playing 5 minutes extra. This is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
See, here's something that worries me a little bit is Tyrese Maxey fouls out.
That's an off-the-ball foul on Iguodala.
Ben Simmons is fouled out.
Watch this. That's a foul. Iguodala fouls Isaiah Joe off ball.
All right. Let's roll with the stats tonight so far. The Sixers and Heat are tied 120 apiece. The overtime will start momentarily. Leading the Miami Heat is Tyler Herro, Gabe Vincent, and Duncan Robinson. They have a combined 74 points combined with those 3 right there. Meanwhile, the Sixers are led by Joel Embiid, who hit a massive mid-range bucket to tie the ball game. He has 34 points, 16 boards, 4 assists, 5 steals for Joel Embiid. You look at the next leading scorer, and that is my man, Danny Green. Never doubted him for a second. 27 points, 9 of 20 from 3. When was the last time a Sixers player had 20 attempts from 3? That is a stat.
Hold on.
Listen, when you're playing 45 minutes and you're missing Seth Curry, Shake Milton, Furkan Korkmaz.
23-point attempts. 20.
Hold on. Here's a crazier stat. Isaiah Joe has 9 attempts from 3.
Yeah, he had 7 last night. So next up we've got Isaiah Joe, 12 points in 32 minutes, massive 3 with 22 seconds remaining. Mike Scott has been kind of cooled off after a great first half. Ben Simmons is fouled out. Tyrese Maxey, 16 points in 36 minutes, 8 assists. Again, 1 turnover in 36 freaking minutes for Tyrese Maxey, who continues to impress. Expect the ball to be run through Tyrese Maxey in this overtime.
Tyrese Maxey's fouled out.
Tyrese Maxey
out?
Yes.
Yeah, he fouled out. Yep.
Come on, Dives. Get with the
Wait a
program.
minute. Are there only 2 subs? Dwight Howard right now?
Dakota Mathias,
available, and you got Dakota Mathias, who is not
who is out on the court right now. So right now on the court, you got Dakota Mathias, Danny Green, Joel Embiid, Isaiah Joe, and Mike Scott. My assumption is right now is they're trying to surround Joel Embiid with the with shooters. Honestly, like that's the only thing they really are capable of doing right now.
But how do they
Isaiah Joe is actually bringing the ball up. So.
That's what I was just going to
Yeah,
ask.
how do you even feed him the ball?
Joining Michael Wise Jr. says Heat Nation. What's up? What's up, Miami?
Good minutes from Isaiah Joe. Really good minutes from Isaiah Joe.
Oh my God.
Ooh, ooh.
Okay.
Duncan Robinson. Airballs the 3. Was it tipped or what?
I'm not sure.
Oh, stop dribbling, Joe. Jesus.
I love this. Everyone's on this different timeline.
Yeah, it sucks.
Welcome to my life, Jason.
I just feel like I get it's a watch party. We gotta watch. We gotta talk about bigger picture stuff. At least zoom out a little bit.
I'm sorry, but like
We have Rodrigo, another Heat fan, joining us. What's up, Rodrigo? Thanks for joining. Good luck.
No, not good luck. I hate you. Just kidding. I don't
hate Heat fans. I have no hate towards. But
oh no, I hate Heat fans. There's a good amount of Heat fans I truly hate very much.
Listen, you got me and Dibes here. They're pretty neutral about most things, and then you got Rob coming in
Don't
here.
call me the voice of the people of Philadelphia for nothing. I don't have love for these people running their mouth. They think I forgot years ago when they all left the stadium and it took a Ray Allen 3 and they all tried to get back in the NBA Finals. You all forgot about that, didn't you?
I usually only do pregame, so they're never here in time for me.
Yeah.
I'm never here in the second quarter when they show up to their games. But other than that, I think that they're great. They're like Dodgers fans, which if you ever go to Dodgers,
100%.
they show up in the third inning and they're leaving.
Dude, come on.
They leave before they leave at the 7th inning.
Yep.
Yeah.
The 7th inning stretch in LA is
God, Joe.
Yeah, you ready to go?
Come on.
Joel is taking over right now.
Dude, okay. I don't want to say a lot because I just don't right now.
That's right. I keep muting.
Okay.
There's triple team.
So right now, Joel Embiid has 38 points, 16 rebounds, going off right now.
What the hell?
Seems to be the only guy that can make shots for us.
Joel's locked in. He's locked in, baby. Let's go. Let's go, Joel Embiid. Let's go, Sixers.
And this stuff really should make people appreciate stars. The difference between a star and a role player is they can create their own shots. They can will you to things. Role players need shots created for them.
Question. Is Joel Embiid a franchise player?
No doubt. Absolutely.
Yo, look at this shit. Look at this shit right there. That's what JoJo is. That's what JoJo is.
He's not just a franchise player. If you had a time machine and you took Joel Embiid and you put him in the 80s, he would be viewed completely differently.
Let's go.
There was no Joel Embiid in the 80s. They had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They had Hakeem Olajuwon. They had Patrick Ewing.
Well, let's go.
Of all of them.
That was awesome.
Okay.
That was awesome. Oh,
Yo, here's my only concern here. We have like no perimeter defense out in that court. Dude, oh my God, Joe can't miss right now.
What's Joe's career high?
It's not that high.
It's in the 40s. Yeah,
I think it's 49.
I can look it up really quick.
It was the Lakers.
What's Joel Embiid's career high?
Lakers 52.
I don't think he's got a 50-point game.
I didn't think he had a 50-point game.
I don't think he has either.
It's either 49 or 52 is off my.
I think it's in the 40s.
Oh, baby, let's go.
49 last year.
Okay.
Woo!
Now,
High five.
rebound.
High five.
Yeah, Joe.
No.
Oh, Joe. I don't even know.
What was that? Justin's freaking out over there.
I don't want to say anything, but I want to at the same time.
No, I will say that 3 was a bit of a heat check there.
Oh my God, man.
Okay.
Dude, Jason.
Yeah.
Jason.
No, I think that you put 15 pounds of muscle on him. You were talking about Isaiah Joe?
Oh,
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Both of them.
15 pounds of muscle. The dude is a legit NBA player for sure.
The defense.
Did you see that block by Joel?
Oh my
Dude, we're not even talking about Joel. We're talking about Isaiah Joe here.
Yeah, his brain works at NBA speed, which is what you want to see. And he can shoot.
He just
He's gonna be
stripped
a useful
Tua, who was a high first round pick.
Yeah, he's going to be a very useful player. What kind of contract does he have?
Not crazy. I mean, he was a second round pick, so I bet it's pretty team friendly.
Yeah, but here's the question: is, do you have time to figure out what you really have?
Oh no.
Justin, I hate you.
I'm very reactionary. I'm sorry.
I know, Justin. The one thing you got to do when you start covering games, you got to stop caring about the results, man.
Oh no. There's no result yet.
Yeah,
And I'm not super big on caring about the result. It's just like I'm getting emotionally invested in how a game's going.
Yeah.
I'm the same way in movies. I just get very emotionally invested in what's happening. Okay.
Come on, Tyler Hero.
Matthias, don't jump in the air, dude.
Yeah, Joe's got a good contract. He's got a 3-year deal, which gives you enough time to really see what you got.
Yo, I can see right now on the bench Tyrese Maxey's literally like this. Tyrese Maxey's standing on the bench like this.
Danny Green, let's go.
Got to box out. Got to box out.
Jesus.
All right, I'm muting everyone here.
Yo. Dakota Matthias.
Okay, here's my problem with that play, though.
Yo, unmute.
Wow.
Danny Green passed up a layup, though.
Unmute.
That's great. A great result. But
Yo, Dibes, unmute. Oh, he can't hear us. Dibes, unmute.
Yo,
Dakota.
Dakota Matthias
Are
coming
you
at the end with
serious
the
right now?
G3.
how many overtimes do we need before this becomes just
Oh my
I don't
god.
need another one.
an abomination?
How was Dakota Matthias' first bucket in this game? Are you serious?
Was it? I don't think that was his first bucket in the game. Was it really?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't even notice that because I know he's taken.
Unbelievable. Don't call him clutch. Don't call him
It
clutch.
was 0 for 3 before that.
Oh
Yeah, you're
my
right.
God. Oh.
Yo, Dibes, Chris said you need to keep your mic on.
No, man. No, man.
I'll keep my mic on, but I mute you guys.
All right, that's my fault. I'll try to hold my reactions back.
Holy shit, Dakota Mathias.
By the way, a quick stat that just popped up on the screen. It's only Joel's 7th career game where he scored 40 points and 15 rebounds. Or 40 plus points, 40 plus 15 plus rebounds.
Man, that's pretty good. Let's also keep in mind that Hakeem Olajuwon won his first championship in his 11th season. Just keep that in mind.
I don't want to say things.
All right, I'm muting everyone here.
Don't mute everybody.
How good was that? Not fouling, huh?
Yeah, honestly.
Good contest, no foul.
Yep.
High five. High five. Up. High five. Let's go. Let's go.
What's wrong with
Oh man. Yo, Zeke Gaming says the Doc Rivers effect. What do y'all think about that one?
Did you guys unmute it? How'd you
Well, I think there's something to the
Stop muting us.
No, I don't want to hear you. I want to watch the game. Stop unmuting it. I want to watch the game.
We're not going to talk about what's happening in the game.
Just turn your sound off.
Yeah,
Rick.
turn your audio off.
I think there's something to be said for the fact that he brings a calm to the team. They don't go on tilt, right? And that really does help at the end of games.
Yeah. Real quick, if anyone wants to know, 9 seconds left in the game. Sixers, after JoJo hits a free throw, up 136 to 132 against the Miami Heat with 8.9 seconds left in overtime. Listen, this game has been a whirlwind of emotions, I think, not only for us, but for most fans. This has been a game. Like, we went from in the fourth quarter seeing the Miami Heat be up by a good amount of points. All of a sudden, the Sixers making a backswing. All of a sudden, the Sixers making a backswing to coming back.
Let's go, baby! Let's go, baby!
And if you didn't realize, Dibes is very far behind already.
I love this comment. Lakers who?
Oh, my God.
Hey, Fave, thank you for staying up with us. Tell us where you're from, because
Fave is from Paris, France.
Paris. That's awesome.
He was talking to us yesterday as well. So thanks for coming back, Fave. We appreciate you.
Yeah, that's
thanks
awesome.
for hanging out with us.
We're sorry that TLC didn't work out here.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's playing in Brooklyn. A lot of Tony Parker love earlier. So, Fave, let us know what you think about the Tony Parker, Tyrese Maxey comparison.
Are you serious?
I was in the Netherlands, and we were seeing family in the Netherlands, and when my wife turned 30, I surprised her, and we went to Paris, France. And I'm someone who didn't want anything to do with. Does a foul?
That's not. I don't know how that's a foul.
Because he didn't touch him, and Duncan Robinson's a 50 point.
So I surprised.
What?
30 day. We
That's how you're taught to defend that.
I think they should foul. They should fine guys for that sort of acting.
That's terrible.
That is how you are taught to put your hand up and just stay straight up and down like that.
That's bad.
He literally went like this. He went up for the shot and then dipped his shoulder and then acted like he got hit. Like that's legit what just happened there.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to remind everyone we're going to be doing.
He's just giving more points to Joel.
We're going to be doing a post-game show very, very soon. We're going to run the intros, and then we're going to just do a quick 20-minute post-game show talking about top takeaways, grades, player of the game. Hang on with us. We're coming in for a landing, guys.
Coming in for a landing. Yeah, but still, yeah, like he said, hang out with us. We're fun, aren't we? I think we're sort of. Are we fun? I feel like we're kind of fun.
Yeah, sometimes.
Sometimes. As long as we're not talking about
it's fun during the wins.
You guys are ahead of me. What are they complaining about here? What happened?
It's an illegal free throw attempt.
Yeah, you got to hit the rim, don't you?
I think you have to hit the rim. He did hit the backboard, the bottom of the backboard. He hit the net.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
Right now, there's 5 seconds left, or 4.8 seconds left. Sixers up 136 to 134. Right now, they're having an official review, which I can only assume is about whether or not the free throw counts as a free throw or a free throw violation.
If it hits the bottom, it's saying that I guess if it hits the bottom of the rim, but that looks like it hits literally the bottom of the backboard.
Yeah, that's the backboard.
I don't know how, and that's what the call on the floor was. So I don't know how you can even overturn that from the angle that I've seen.
Yeah, nah.
Yep.
It's looking like. Hold on.
It's an off-ball foul.
1 second.
So
It's looking like it's gonna stay. Ruling is gonna stay how it's going right now. Yeah. Kelly Olynyk is really a weird looking dude.
weren't you the one that asked me what I didn't like about him earlier?
Yeah.
He's not a likable guy. He's got a punchable face.
Oh, he's got a really punchable face. I agree with that. 100%. Would love to punch Kelly Olynyk straight in the face.
I mean, he probably cost the Cavaliers a championship.
So I have a real quick question. Is this like embarrassing at all, the fact that the Sixers are in this much of trouble playing against a team who doesn't have Jimmy Butler or Bam Adebayo?
I think it's concerning that I think it's understandable, but it's cause for concern that if you remove a couple of pieces from this machine, it doesn't work nearly as well.
I think we talked about it when the Sixers were rolling, that the Seth Curry influence is massive.
Yeah.
The Seth Curry is the true engine of this team.
Real quick, Embiid right now is the first player since like 1980 something or 1970 something to have this stat line right now. They just had it up on the screen, and I can't remember what it just said.
I know the way that the league is consumed by fans has changed, and the rules have changed to that. But he's historically good. Historically good. You drop him in any era of the league at all ever, he dominates in the league. He is a top 10 player in any era ever.
Yep. He's got 45 points, 16 rebounds. Hold on, let me look. I got to look at this again. He's got 45 points, 4 assists, 16 rebounds. He's 16 for 23, which is insane. 1 block, 5 steals. He's 0 for 3 from 3, but he's shooting 100% from the free throw line, 13 for 13, with only 4 turnovers. When at the end of the game, like basically no ball handlers are in, and he only has 2 fouls in the game as well.
Yeah.
That's impressive, and he's played 39 minutes.
Yeah.
45 points in 39 minutes.
All right, guys, make sure you follow us. We're going to be doing a post-game show coming here very, very soon when the clock kicks through. We'll run the introductions and really talk about our takeaways and so forth. So keep with us here. Don't turn off. We're going to be just going into our reaction pod. So thank you, everybody, for watching. More to come. I'm going to go back.
And if
Can I
you have
just
not
say-
already, before you go anywhere, like the stream, subscribe to the channel. We do this every game. Come back here every game. We're here all the time, especially for post games. I'm going to say it. Sixers right now
Yep.
coming out with the W. Sixers winning the game against the Miami Heat 137-135, I believe it was. Embiid going off for 45 points. Danny Green going off for 29, although it was for 10 for 25 of shooting. So, I mean, sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say, like, Danny Green obviously shot a lot of shots. He came up when he needed to. Had some not amazing turnovers towards the end of the fourth quarter, which led to us, I think, going into this overtime stretch. But overall, Joel Embiid coming to this game, damn. Okay, but I think he's probably going to want to go. Do you want to, Rob? Whatever you're going to say, do you want to talk about it in the post game?
I was just wondering where our Miami Heat fans went. They must have left. The game got tied and went to overtime. I was just curious where they went. But go ahead.
Love it.
All right, let's get to this post game, guys. Once again, stick around. We are going to run our quick intro so we can cut it up for the next for our post game video, and then we're going to be right back. So stay tuned.
Your fist made us go into overtime, Justin. Just saying.
All right. You know what? 3.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to our Sixers versus Heat post-game show. Today we are reacting to the Sixers 137-130. What's going on? Who's got the echo going on? Turn it off. The Sixers got the W. Move on to 8-4, I think, on the season. Today we're going to talk about our top takeaways. We're going to grade today's performance and talk about player of the game. Joining us today is the voice of the people. Please give him a follow on Twitter at Philly_Manis. He also hosts the Manis podcast every Thursday night with Jessica Town. Rob, what's up?
I'm much happier now than I was when I joined the show at halftime. So I'll take it. Not the prettiest, but you take them the way you get them.
Also joining us is our beat writer, my man Jason. You know him on Twitter at JBlevinsNBA. What's going on, JB?
He is muted.
Jason, you're muted.
Sorry, I was just watching Joel's post game. What he said. So didn't hear the question, but he just said in post game that he felt like he was going through the motions, turning the ball over a little too much. But when they got down 12, he had to lock in, focus, and take over the game.
And that is
essentially. I'm sure you were asking my takeaways and what other takeaway really matters.
Yeah, we're talking about just how you doing, man.
I'm doing great.
All right, the Sixers got the W. And also joining us today, of course, I'm going to call it our co-host for TPL Live. He is Justin. Please give him a follow on Twitter at J_Percasetti. What's up, Justin?
Persichetti, and I am doing all right. The Sixers caught the dub today, which is obviously what we want to see after losing yesterday in a back-to-back, coming back and getting the win, and Joel just going off. And that's honestly the best games when the Sixers have, when Joel Embiid just goes nuts, and that's what he did tonight.
All right, let's talk about top takeaways of this game. The Sixers stopped a 3-game losing streak. Rob, what was your main takeaway from this game?
Well, you know, when I hopped on at halftime, we were talking about Joel really needed to assert himself, and he did. I mean, in the third quarter, I think he had 20 points in the third quarter, and then carried that over into the fourth. And then, you know, Ben fouls out, Maxey fouls out, and it's the Joel Embiid show. And that's what you want to see out of him. You know, he doesn't have to score 45 every night, but when, you know, you're down a few guys You've lost a few games here in a row. You're looking for that tough, gritty win. And I feel like even though it's only 12 games into the season, I feel like we've said this a lot. These are games that the Sixers lose the past couple of years. And for them to find a way to win, and guys like Danny Green steps up, Isaiah Joe, here's a guy who wasn't really playing that, has to play these major minutes, and he's hitting big shots. It's all good. It's all positive things. I know that you would have liked it to be a prettier win against a beaten down Miami team, but guess what? In the NBA, you get a win like this, you take the positives out of this, I feel like, more than the negatives. What
about you, JB?
There's a lot to like. I think getting the win against a team where you really couldn't game plan beyond Harrow and Robinson, having 2 of your core guys of your 8 available foul out midway through the fourth quarter. Somebody said it was a blue collar win. I agree entirely. It was a game they could have easily packed up and gone home at least twice. Being down 12 and then giving up that 12-point lead themselves, they could have packed it in. So they dug down and they pulled it out, and they got young guys to really contribute in the guts of the game. So a lot of good positives.
What about you, Justin?
No, I think something that's really important to talk about, and something that everyone touched on already, but like guys like Isaiah Joe and Dakota Mathias, like coming up clutch at the end of the game, like those 2 guys who've gotten more playing time as the games have gone on and as the COVID Sixers have come to life. But those guys who really stepped up today, obviously Joel Embiid being the centerpiece to them winning this game, but guys like Isaiah Joe, especially him playing, honestly, really good defense at the end of this game. He got screwed a little bit on the foul calls. I think that needs to be said. Like Rob said during our live stream today, he was playing defense exactly how you teach it. He was. And he got some BS calls on him, but he also just played good defense all around and played pretty well offensively as well and hit some big shots. So I think that's important to say.
Yeah, it's fun to dance around Joel Embiid, who absolutely was terrific in the second half. But my main takeaway is Isaiah Joe. Isaiah Joe was 4 for 7 from 3 last night. He was 3 of 16 prior to last night. And then you just saw him get a huge three-pointer with 22 seconds remaining. It's amazing to see. Tyrese Maxey hit a huge three-pointer with 3 minutes remaining. Amazing to see the kids step up when it matters. Rob, who's your player of the game?
I mean, I you got to give it to Joel Embiid. But I think, Danny Green scored, 32 tonight?
Danny Green at 29.
29? Okay. So, and that's coming on the heels of a really bad performance last night. He kind of, listen, when he signed here, he said, I think my biggest role is going to be off the court as a team leader. Well, he took that team leader and brought it onto the court in a game where they were short guys. They lose 2 guys fouling out. They're 2 primary ball handlers in Ben and Tyrese in this game. And I think that, he can get some votes there too. But, I mean, the big man, 45 and, 16, 4 assists, 5 steals, a hell of a block late in the game. How can you not go to Joel Embiid?
What about you, JB?
Player of the game?
Yeah.
I was firmly in the Joel Embiid was going to be player of the game camp before the game, and I mean none of the other things happen around him without him being a dominant force inside.
What about you, Justin?
I think it's obviously Joel, but something I do want to touch on with Danny. Danny not only stepped up offensively in some ways when it came to scoring the ball and scoring those 29 points, but also at the end of the game had a lot of key assists and rebounds. He was the man who assisted Isaiah Joe in the corner and also assisted Dakota Mathias.
Advertising.
Sorry.
He was the man who assisted Isaiah Joe and also Dakota Mathias in those 2 big shots at the end of the game. So I think that's super important to talk about. Is that's a guy who's a veteran who was able to get those key rebounds and key assists at the end of the game. But I think more than obviously Embiid is the player of the game tonight with 45 points. Just an insane night offensively. You saw at the end of the fourth quarter and even in overtime, you just couldn't stop him. He was hitting shots. He was hitting shots with people in his face. He was hitting them with bodies on him, getting and ones. He just was having an amazing night, and you don't see that every night from Embiid.
Yeah, and obviously Embiid's the player of the game. That bucket he hit at the end of the overtime, not overtime, regular in the fourth quarter was absolutely terrific. But I'm going to go with Tyrese Maxey because I cannot give this kid enough credit for how this kid has stepped up in January. Not including tonight, he was averaging 24.3 minutes per game in January. And you look at the turnovers. He had one turnover tonight. Talk about a kid just stepping up and really being the main kind of, just setting the tone for this Sixers team because turnovers have destroyed this team in the past. And I'm just so blown away by this kid's ability to really know his role in this offense and just play at his tempo and play. His basketball IQ is absolutely terrific. Rob, how would you grade tonight's performance?
Well, I think the first half was sluggish, but when you think about the way that they came together and they battled and Joel kind of led, was an absolute force. I'd give the team a B plus overall. I mean, and I'm sure many people want to give him an A, but that first half was sluggish, and then you gave up a 12-point lead late. But you know what? You found a way to win the game, and that's the important thing. You broke the skid. And, just real quick, you talk about Tyrese Maxey. I know John Calipari will go to bat for all his players. I know he loves all his players. But on draft night, if you watch the interview with John Calipari after Tyrese Maxey fell to the Sixers, there was something in his eye as he was talking and the little smirk he had. He knew that Tyrese Maxey could be a special young player. And I think we're just – listen, I know it's early, and I think we're just seeing the beginning of it, but I think there's a lot to like about the young kid.
What about you, Jason?
Going back to what Rob said on draft night, the other thing that stuck out to me was LeBron James tweeted out when Maxey was picked. That may have been his only tweet about a draftee that night. And that immediately raised my alarm. I went in and looked. Sure enough, Maxey had worked out with the clutch team, Ben Simmons and LeBron all summer. And you see why they're so excited about him. I feel like he is passing every test. We talked about it during the game. I still don't exactly know what his ceiling is, but he's passing every test.
He's got 6 turnovers the last 7 games with a high usage rate and playing more than 24, 25 minutes a game. It's absolutely unreal how much this kid has stepped up for the Sixers. Justin, how would you grade tonight's performance?
I mean, all around, I would say they had a rough start. A lot of fouls, a lot of just inconsistency. But they brought it back at the end, and I think that's important. I think that's going to be big tests throughout the season. And obviously this is probably going to be one of the biggest tests with not having a good portion of your starters. So I mean, I would give it a B+, A-, just because of the fact that they were able to fight against this adversity and end up winning the game. And I don't think obviously I don't think they win this game unless Joel Embiid has the massive performance he does. But I think just the fact that they were able to step up and win this game, I think that shows a lot.
All right, let's go to the last question before we do plugs. This question right here, are we going to talk about the elephant in the room, which is Ben's offensive output? Rob, do you have any take on Ben Simmons? Ben Simmons had 5 points in 32 minutes, 12 assists, 6 turnovers, fouled out. It was a +2, only 2 field goals. What was your take on Ben Simmons?
My take is he had a bad game, and even in a bad game, he had 12 assists. He gave Danny Green a lot of good looks, gave Mike Scott quite a few good looks, and I'm not trying to say that it's like he played well. He didn't. He had a bad game. But I mean, I'm not going to do this every time Ben Simmons. Like, it's the same thing in this town. People are waiting for him to have a bad game so they can pile on. If you want to get rid of Ben, be my guest. But you see what this team is without him on the floor. You see what this team is without him on the floor. And I just am not at that point. Like, I'm not giving up. I've thought about this a lot, and I know how good of a player James Harden is. But I'm just not like, I'm not there. I'm just not there. And I'm not going to be there, I don't think. Like, this was a terrible game for Ben as far as his standards are. But we've got to, settle down with every time the guy is bad. We have to blow it up out of proportion.
Pandol says trade Ben for Beal. Jason, what was your take on Ben tonight?
Perfect from the field. Let's look at James Harden. What did he shoot tonight? 5 for 16. So I don't know what you guys are talking. I don't know what game you guys watched. It's perfect from the field.
I think Jason has more to say on that one.
Ben is what he is, right? So he is a fantastic piece in a lot of different ways. He's not a perfect piece. There are ways to game plan a defense to take away what he does well. And when you're shorthanded, it becomes a problem. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think if they have a Seth Curry in the game and a Tobias Harris, the Heat aren't able to take him away as much as they did. They were able to do it tonight.
Yeah.
I get a little concerned when I see Ben have 2 free throw attempts in this game and 2 field goal attempts. That is my concern. Not so much the points, but him just being non-factor in terms of getting to the line. What about you, Justin?
All right. Something that I think that we need to really hit on is that Ben did the same thing tonight that he's been doing in the most recent games he's played, and that is getting his teammates involved. I think the big difference that you're seeing in the past few games is that the guys that are the ones shooting it around him are not the guys that were shooting it prior to Seth Curry being injured. Not being injured, getting COVID. Ben Simmons had 12 assists tonight. Ben Simmons didn't even play most of the fourth quarter and none of overtime. Yep. I think his stat line looks a little bit different if you have Seth Curry and Shake Milton on the floor today. I really do. And obviously, Danny Green went – what was Danny Green's stat line again? Danny Green went 10 for 25. Mike Scott went 6 for 16. And I think that should really be shown because on normal basis, you have Seth Curry taking a lot of those shots. You have Shake Milton taking some of those shots. And you also have Furkan taking some of those shots. And so I think that needs to be said. I do think, though, the offensive output when it comes to him scoring himself, if you're worried about the team in general and what the future of the Sixers, if that brings problems – then sure, I can see your issues with it. But if all you're concerned about is the offense as a whole, I think it looks different when you have more of your – I think his stat line looks different when you have more of your actual team on the court.
Yeah, I think you have to look at this like Miami came into the game and said, we're going to make Isaiah Joe, Danny Green, and Mike Scott beat us from 3. And the more shots they take – the better. So we're going to wall off the paint and basically deny anything in the paint, right? You're going to have to go through 3 or 4 guys to get to the rim. That was their game plan. So the question about a Ben Simmons becomes, is he a Godzilla level player where it doesn't matter what your game plan is? He's going to destroy you anyway. The answer is no. You can game plan against him, but on a night, to your point, Justin, where you have guys around him that you're not willing to take 21 threes, you're not willing to let Seth Curry take 21 threes. Now you play a different style of defense, which creates open lanes for driving for a Ben Simmons, and now you see him take 10, 11, 15 shot attempts.
I think with like to say what you're saying is like, and I think that's the big difference with when they're not on the floor. And obviously Ben has still not been putting up the best numbers when it comes to scoring for himself. But like when those guys are playing, but like that does make a difference as in instead of having to go up against 3 guys in the paint, he may be only going against 1 or 2 guys when you have a guy like Seth on the outside instead of a guy like Danny who hasn't been shooting as consistent. So it's just like little things that do make a difference, and even if the difference is 7 points for Ben Simmons in comparison to his 5, like right now he had 5 points tonight. Like even that little difference of having Seth Curry on the court is the difference in him scoring that average of like 15 to 13.
Yeah, I just think people that thought he was going to come in and be an MVP, 25 point per game player, just aren't watching him.
You're also forgetting that you have a guy who can score 45 points. That's at your center spot. So
yeah, and he is a Godzilla level player, right? And there are very few of them.
Yeah,
Harden is one. Steph is one. LeBron is obviously the one. On some nights, Giannis is the one, but not against every team and not in the playoffs.
and I think this comment's important too. Chris Dunn says not having Toby has been very noticeable. He and Curry were the guys hitting those shots. We will be fine. Stay healthy. So like I think that's important to say as well. Like where Mike Scott's playing right now is the position that Toby is going to be playing right now. And where Mike Scott is less consistent with his threes, or at least has been as of late, Toby has been the opposite as of late and has been honestly an MVP candidate for this team when he's been playing. And I mean, Jason looks like he disagrees with me, but like,
yeah, no.
like
Tobias is the beneficiary of all of the other players around him. So he's another guy that just, it matters who's around him and what open lanes are there, what space that he gets. Are defenders going to cheat against him to double, giving him an open shot? Are they going to rush out when he gets the ball, which allows him to attack the closeout? Like he's a beneficiary of the other players. He's not a person that actually breaks down other teams.
yeah. And I mean, I guess that's more or less what I'm trying to say with that, where it's like instead of Mike Scott getting all those open threes that he has been, Tobias has been more consistent in those shot opportunities, and that's the big difference in when he's playing and Mike Scott's starting.
Yeah, I just didn't agree that he's an MVP level.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I don't think he's a legitimate MVP. I think it's more along the sides that he's playing like super consistently when he's on the court with Ben.
Yep.
All right, let's go into plugs. Rob, what do you want to plug, man?
All right, I'm going to be recording a Voice of the People this week. A couple things I'm going to be talking about. Obviously, the shocking firing of Doug Peterson and where the Eagles stand with the weasel known as Howie Roseman still in there running the show. I'm also going to talk about Adam Silver and this just debacle of this game's canceled, this game's not. I mean, it really does look – it's starting to get bad and obvious how much he hates the 76ers. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, so stay tuned for that. Me and Jess will definitely be talking. We wanted this week to be our move to the Sixers on the madness, but the Eagles just got to keep pushing their damn way into our news media, and we're going to talk about the Doug Peterson firing and all the BS that's going on out there, whose fault it was and all that. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and then obviously you can follow me at Philly_madness.
All right. What about you, Jason?
I just want to thank everyone who's been hanging out all night. Some of you guys have been here for the whole nearly 4 hours. That's awesome. Really just appreciate it and enjoy it, quite frankly. I read all of your comments, even the ones that don't make the main screen. I'm reading them all, and I'm really enjoying a lot of it, even when you roast us for things. Philly Heat. I'm sure it's way past your bedtime, but other than that, I mean, I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I appreciate Dibes and Justin for all the work they do every game. I got my COVID results today, so I think I'm in the clear. So I'll be back in the arena
Love
very
to hear it.
soon this weekend. So you'll see me probably the next time on a pregame. I'll be in the arena.
Nice.
We love that. We love that.
Justin, you're up.
Yeah, I mean, so go follow me on Twitter at j_Persichetti. I post everything NBA, MLB, NFL, and you name it, I'll post it. Just come hang out with me. Dude, come hang out with us on these watch parties. We're here every game, just about. And if we're not here during the watch party, we're definitely on here for post game. So just come, keep hanging out with us. You guys are the reason we keep bringing it to you. We see you guys. We see that you want this. And we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. So follow us on that. Or keep following the watch parties. Also, go follow TPL on Twitter and Instagram. I help out with those, so please go follow that. It really helps us out if you follow those accounts. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Lastly, make sure you follow. Tomorrow, we got the Daily Dose at 4 o'clock. They're going to talk about the Sixers and Heat game. They're going to do a quick game recap. But Paul Hembo from ESPN will be joining at 4:30. And then we've got Dave Holt just wrapping it up with a Flyers pregame show. And then we will be doing a Flyers live watch party versus the Penguins tomorrow, I guess around 5:30. So a lot going down here tomorrow. So please be sure to like. Please be sure to subscribe. Turn on those notifications. We're pretty much like hitting like 3 shows a day here. So it's absolutely awesome. So I just want to say thank you, everybody here, for watching. Sixers got the W. Another 20-game home win streak. Can we say it? Can we say it? It's happening. It's going down. So everyone.
The only reason the win streak ended was because of Adam Silver.
Period. And they hate Sam Hinkie. That's what it is. So thank you, everyone, for watching. For Rob, for Justin, for Jason. Thanks. Have a good night. Stay awesome.
Peace.